Chapter 1911. In a group battle of the same cultivation level, it was already difficult to win without any losses, not to mention attacking only one spot. In the battle just now, Knight Sorrow attacked casually, but all he hit were their right legs. Think about it carefully. If it's easy to be the leader of the First Army, then we don't need the First Vanguard of the 100 Races Alliance to be the leader. From today onwards, you're not allowed to leave the First Army. We'll lift the ban when the three of us are satisfied, Tiger Cold said. Isn't that too cruel? A woman looked at Tiger Cold and said. Cruel? If you think it's cruel, then leave. Didn't you realize that the First Army doesn't want you? Tiger Cold glared at the woman. The newcomers didn't say anything because the First Army, from Knight Sorrow to the ordinary soldiers, didn't look them in the eye. They really didn't want them. I don't want to teach a bunch of useless people when the leader asks. I'll give you 2 hours to heal your injuries. After 2 hours, the training will begin. Hu Han left after giving his instructions. He was still practicing the joint attack formation with the brothers of his own team to strengthen his own abilities. After Yi Shang sent off Tang Zong and Elder Ling Shu, he took a look around the First Army and then went to the small martial arts practice field to practice his spear arts. He had to make arrangements for today's matter. He didn't have time to do it personally. The newcomers also started training. They had no reason to be lazy. Not to mention that they were newcomers, the original 10 teams of the First Army were all training. In the evening, Knight Sorrow stopped cultivating and went to the original 10 teams to look at them. He pointed out some shortcomings and personally demonstrated them. Then, he left the First Army. Sister Lingling, the leader didn't look us in the eye. He completely ignored us. Isn't the difference in treatment a little too serious? Bai Xiaoyu muttered. He was Bai Lingling's cousin. How should I put it? You guys haven't reached the level where you need the leader's guidance. You guys can't do anything. His guidance from the beginning to the end? I can only say that I'm sorry, but the leader doesn't have time, Bai Lingling said. Knight Sorrow returned to his residence and had dinner with Lin Piaomiao. Knight Sorrow was quite satisfied with his current lifestyle. Within the 9-domain world, he had his 9-domain doppelgangers accompanying his parents, wife, and children. This doppelganger dealt with matters outside while his main body cultivated. Mo Tianji was still moving towards the teleportation array of Star Moon City. As she moved closer, she felt that her chances were increasing. On this day, he noticed Lu Qi flying towards the mountain peak behind the City Lord Mansion. Mo Tianji took a deep breath. She flashed out of the spatial treasure and rushed towards the teleportation array. She had calculated everything. Once she reached the teleportation array and placed the Saint Spirit stones to activate it, she would have enough time. Lu Qi would not be able to stop her in time. The moment Mo Tianji appeared, Lu Qi knew who she was. His expression changed drastically as he rushed towards her. Mo Tianji's white hair fluttered as she sent the guards flying. Even Shi Lai, who had arrived just in time, was sent flying. Mo Tianji then threw a Saint Spirit stone into the Saint Spirit stone slot of the teleportation formation. The teleportation array glowed and activated. At that moment, Mo Tianji landed on the teleportation array while Lu Qi was still flying. Mo Tianji stood on the teleportation array with a smile on her face. Lu Qi had arrived late. But at that moment, the light on the teleportation array dissipated. The teleportation energy stopped and everything quieted down. The teleportation failed? Mo Tianji did not understand. The teleportation array had already been activated. How could it fail? The teleportation crystal was lit up. The teleportation array was fine. Mo Tianji, how dare you? Lu Qi was furious. He swung his sword at Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji did not know why the teleportation array failed, but it was too late for a second teleportation. In order to prevent Lu Qi from sending other experts to kill her, Mo Tianji left the teleportation array. When Mo Tianji flew out of the teleportation array, her feet shook and the teleportation array shattered. Then, a battle broke out in the sky above Star Moon City. Qing Emperor collected the teleportation crystals that fell from the teleportation array and watched the battle. Knight Sorrow, who was cultivating his spear arts, was shocked. He looked at Lin Piaomiao and said, "Sister Xian, Star Moon City is under attack. The teleportation array has been destroyed. The aura belongs to Mo Tianji. Let's go back and help," Lin Piaomiao said. Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao did not have time to inform anyone. They took the teleportation array back to Ethereal Imperial City. Then, they teleported to Greenwater City, which was the closest city to Star Moon City. Then, they flew back to Star Moon City. Sister Xian, don't worry. Mo Tianji was teleporting to 9 Domain World. I sensed it. I controlled the teleportation crystal's power of law and stopped the teleportation, Knight Sorrow said. She must have used some method to hide from 7th Elder and entered the teleportation array. 7th Elder had enough time to react after the teleportation stopped. She is no match for 7th Elder now, Lin Piaomiao said. At this moment, Lu Qi waved his long sword. Sword Qi filled the sky and rushed towards Mo Tianji. He was extremely angry. If it wasn't for the accident during the teleportation, Mo Tianji would have already rushed into the 9 regions world. If that happened, things would be serious. He would be responsible for it. He wouldn't be able to answer to the Great Elders and King Yawu. How could Mo Tianji not be angry when Lu Qi was angry? The plan was going well. But at the last moment, something went wrong with the teleportation. Now, she had to bear Lu Qi's anger. Mo Tianji had no problem dealing with Lu Qi when she was at her peak. But now, Mo Tianji had the strength of an 8-star emperor. She could not compare to Lu Qi. She could only retreat. As Mo Tianji retreated, Lu Qi chased after her. Lu Qi, you ruined my plan. I will kill you. Mo Tianji's body flashed. She dodged Lu Qi's sword Qi attack. But as she spoke, she slowed down. Lu Qi's sword Qi penetrated her protective shield and went through her waist. Mo Tianji's white hair danced. Then, she used her movement technique, Heavenly Concubine Phantom. Although Mo Tianji had estimated Lu Qi's strength, she still underestimated him. Lu Qi pointed his sword at the sky and then slashed downwards. Countless sword Qi flew towards Mo Tianji. Back then, Lu Qi was able to turn the tide in Tianhuang City because of his strength. Mo Tianji's white hair retracted and protected her true body. But as the sword Qi collided, Mo Tianji spat out blood. Lu Qi's sword Qi was too overbearing. It was also because Lu Qi was furious and wanted to kill. Demonic wings blood escape. Mo Tianji roared. Then, the wings on her back shone with a blood-red light. Then, she scattered and retreated. K-Yong Ogyo equals 8 freebie read 90,000 novel square root, sky-piercing sword aura. Lu Qi's sword danced again. He used his strongest technique, sky-piercing sword aura. As Lu Qi waved his sword, a blinding sword aura appeared. It flew towards Mo Tianji like lightning. It passed through her right wing. Chapter 1912. Mo Tianji, who burned her essence blood to activate her innate absolute art, was extremely fast. Although she was injured, she still managed to shake Lu Qi off with a few flashes and disappeared from the Star Moon City region. Lu Qi's face was full of anger. This wasn't the result he wanted. When Lu Qi returned to the Star Moon City teleportation array, Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao had also arrived. I'm ashamed. I didn't look after this place properly and allowed someone to sneak in. Something big almost happened. Lu Qi said. 7th Sect Elder, you're overthinking. She probably had her eyes on this place for a long time. Knight Sorrow invited Lu Qi into the city lord's residence and brewed a pot of tea. He knew Lu Qi wasn't in a good mood right now. It's my negligence. I didn't expect her to control a spatial treasure and sneak in. Lu Qi was still blaming himself. She probably came to the celestial realm at the same time as me after the reincarnation battlefield appeared. She has been guarding this place ever since. If it wasn't for 7th Sect Elder, Star Moon City would have already been lost. If she sneaked into the 9-domain world, we would be in big trouble. Even Knight Sorrow was a bit scared. Although his 9-region world clone could immediately take his family into the space, if a middle-class emperor came to cause trouble in the 9-region world, there was no way to stop it. Your teleportation array is very powerful. She couldn't teleport, so I had time to beat her back. Her innate absolute art is very powerful. Although I injured her, I can't make her stay. Lu Qi said. She runs very fast and can't be stopped. I can't chase after her. Knight Sorrow was also very conflicted. She used her essence blood to activate her body's potential. She can't use it indefinitely. It's safer for you to return to Sky Desolate City. I'll keep watch here. This won't happen again. Lu Qi said. Knight Sorrow took the teleportation crystal that Qing Emperor took back and set up another Emperor-rank teleportation array. He then refined the Emperor-rank teleportation crystal again. This time, the refinement had increased the restrictions. As long as the amount of energy carried exceeded the amount of energy Knight Sorrow had in his body, he would not be able to teleport. For example, if he carried a large amount of Holy Spirit stones or a cultivator who was stronger than a sovereign emperor in a spatial treasure, he would not be able to teleport. After setting up the teleportation array, Knight Sorrow set up a space imprisonment array outside the teleportation array. At the same time, he refined a few array discs and gave them to Qing Emperor and Tang Jianfeng. In order to show his respect, Knight Sorrow also gave Lu Qi one. With the space imprisonment array formation, it was impossible to approach the teleportation array silently. Very good. If you do this, the chances of Mo Tianji sneaking in will be very low. It will be almost impossible. After listening to Knight Sorrow's explanation, Lu Qi felt more at ease. Yi Shang then asked the Azure Supreme the Arch to open up the defensive array formation of Star Moon City, preparing for a full-scale defense. Under Lu Qi's supervision, Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomia returned to Tianhuang City. After entering the residence, Knight Sorrow saw the Grand Elder and Lu Qi's original body. Your martial uncle will be here soon. The Grand Elder said. Knight Sorrow nodded and sat down. He knew this matter was very serious. Mo Tianji, one of the 3 great heavens of the Devil Wing clan, had arrived. This was a danger to the celestial realm. He had to find her. In just a moment, King Yawu arrived. Following which, Lu Qi told him about Mo Tianji's appearance and her cultivation. Middle-class emperor. There are many people in the celestial realm who can counter her. It shouldn't be a problem. King Yawu said. Martial uncle, Mo Tianji's cultivation realm is high. Her strength will increase quickly. When she first entered the reincarnation battlefield, she was still a sovereign emperor. Knight Sorrow expressed his opinion. Her cultivation realm is high. She will increase quickly in the early stages, but it won't be so easy in the later stages. This involves the compatibility of the soul and body. How can someone else's body compare to her original body? In a short period of time, it won't be easy for her to increase her strength. King Yawu said. Mo Tianji came to the celestial realm for a few reasons. First, she wants to take back her original body. Second, it's about her reincarnation. Other than these two, she probably wants to find allies and spies. Grand Elder said. She wants to take back her original body, so she wants to target me. The 9-region world portals are guarded by the 7 sect elders. With some defensive formations, Mo Tianji won't be able to break in. Misty Imperial City's Night Moon Villa has the defensive formation set up by Martial Uncle. With Uncle Shiguan there, it's safe. Therefore, she won't be able to do anything to me. Now, the focus is on other directions. Knight Sorrow said. She won't dare to go to the divine capital. She might go to the Black Dragons and the Flying Serpents, or find a place to cultivate. King Yawu thought for a moment and said. Grand Elder, find a fortune teller and get rid of her. That way, she'll be safe. Knight Sorrow was a little puzzled. A fortune teller was enough. Why did they need to make deductions? How can Mo Tianji not know about fortune telling? She must have a treasure that can disrupt the heavenly secrets and prevent divination. Even if she doesn't have a treasure, she'll find a way to prevent the fortune teller from divining her. Grand Elder said. Knight Sorrow sighed helplessly. He was taking things for granted. Then, King Yawu and Grand Elder decided to mobilize the spies of the various forces in the 100 Races Alliance. The Divine Devil Castle also issued a mission regarding Mo Tianji. They couldn't let Mo Tianji settle down and wander around the celestial realm as she pleased. Then, they arranged for experts to wait outside the Black Dragons and the Flying Serpents. King Yawu, Grand Elder, and Lu Qi left. Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao were left to think about what to do next. Sister Xian, we should go back to the Misty Imperial City to capture her. Maybe there's a small chance that we can capture her. Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. How is that possible? Mo Tianji is an expert of the older generation. She has a lot of experience. If she doesn't come out, it'll be hard for us to find her. I understand that you want to capture her, but it's better to be safe, Lin Piaomiao said. Sister Xian, you've overlooked a problem. I've told you before that I planted a soul imprint on Mo Tianji's hair and skirt. She might have changed her skirt, but the soul imprint at the root of her hair should still be there. As long as we're within a certain range, I'll be able to sense her. Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and told her his thoughts. That's right. We can give it a try. If we meet her, we'll call for someone to take care of her. Lin Piaomiao was very excited after hearing Knight Sorrow's words. She also felt that they could give it a try. What do you mean we can give it a try? If you want to take care of someone, how can you not call for us? The Great Demon King, Pu Luo, and the others entered Knight Sorrow's residence. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Knight Sorrow recounted what had happened that day. Chapter 1913. That's fine. Although the chances of catching her aren't high, we can still try. Rui Si said. Not high? I don't think so. We all know how powerful she used to be. People like her don't believe in anything but strength. Therefore, I don't think she's gone too far. She's probably lying nearby healing. Yu Zhu refuted Rui Si's opinion and expressed her own opinion. Yu Zhu's thinking is correct. People like Mo Tianji believe in strength. Let's go near Star Moon Lake. Lin Piaomiao said. Soon after, the Humanitarian League set off and went to Misty Dynasty's region. After receiving news that Knight Sorrow and the others set off, the Grand Elder began to worry. He was worried about Knight Sorrow's safety. Mo Tianji's main target was Knight Sorrow. She was here for Knight Sorrow. Don't worry, the Humanitarian League's people are all ruthless. They are going to catch Mo Tianji. She wouldn't dare send herself to them. King Yawu, who was drinking tea with the Grand Elder, laughed. That's true. They are all rather strong. Taking care of a middle-class emperor shouldn't be a problem. The Grand Elder sat down. He knew he was too worried. Knight Sorrow and the others started searching near Star Moon Lake. Knight Sorrow carefully sensed. As long as Mo Tianji was nearby, he would be able to detect her. Even if she entered a spatial treasure, her aura would still leak out. Knight Sorrow and the others weren't in a hurry. They started flying around Star Moon Lake. When they were tired, they would roast some fish to go with wine. After searching for half a month, they had searched all around Star Moon Lake. They had practically searched all the areas 1,000,000 miles away from the shore. Yu Zhu, it seems like your analysis was wrong. Perhaps she ran out and hid in another region to heal. Rui Si said. Not necessarily. It's just that we haven't found her yet. Yu Zhu insisted on her opinion. Maybe we thought she was a coward. Maybe she didn't even leave Star Moon Lake. Let's just fly above the lake and search for her. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and came to a decision. She can't be that bold, right? Reese looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. You're not her, so you won't think about her decisions. Let's just do it like this. We'll just treat this as a sightseeing tour around Star Moon Lake, Night Sorrow said. Reese did not say anything because Rain Bamboo, Big Demon King, and Poo Luo agreed with what Night Sorrow said. Reese felt that Night Sorrow's idea was bold, but it wasn't impossible. At this moment, Mo Tianji was at the bottom of Star Moon Lake, recuperating in her spatial treasure. She was very annoyed. She didn't understand at the time, but she thought about it later. It was probably because the teleportation array had set up a restriction. She didn't know why, but she didn't meet the requirements for the teleportation array, so the teleportation array stopped after it was activated. Mo Tianji couldn't wait to kill Lu Qi because Lu Qi had caused her failure. But first, she had to recover from her injuries. Lu Qi had caused her quite a bit of damage. Lu Qi's soaring sword aura was wreaking havoc in her body, trying to destroy her body. This was one of the reasons why Mo Tianji didn't go far. She stayed at the bottom of Star Moon Lake. If she continued to run, she would have to burn her essence blood, which was very damaging to her body. Mo Tianji's realm was high, but healing required energy. She was an 8-star emperor, so it was very difficult for her to expel and refine the soaring sword aura that Lu Qi had left in her body. She had been refining it for a long time in the time acceleration, but she had only refined a small part of it. It would take a long time to completely refine it. Mo Tianji was helpless. She couldn't move because she had been exposed. The celestial realm would be on guard against her. Even if she went out now, she wouldn't be able to do anything. It was better for her to recover in peace. After searching half of Star Moon Lake, there were still no results. Night Sorrow brought the Humanitarian League group to Star Moon City. Everyone needed to rest. After resting for a day, Night Sorrow and the others planned to continue searching. Night Sorrow, Mo Tianji ran from the northwest direction. She was in a hurry, so she shouldn't have changed directions, said Lu Qi, who knew about Night Sorrow and the others' plan. Yi Shan slapped his forehead. During this period of time, he had been investigating the Star Moon Lake area to the east of Star Moon City, so he hadn't thought to ask Lu Qi. After knowing the direction Mo Tianji had gone, Night Sorrow started searching in that direction. Lu Qi had lost track of Mo Tianji after chasing for a while because Mo Tianji had burned her essence blood to use her innate talent. In such a situation, she had to either leave quickly or hide after leaving Lu Qi's search range. According to Yu Zhu's point of view, Mo Tianji wouldn't have gone too far. So, they just had to follow the path and search slowly. It would be best if they could find something, but if not, it would just be a waste of energy. After Night Sorrow and the others passed Lu Qi's search range, they started searching slowly. On the second night, Yi Shang raised his arm and stopped the people behind him because he felt a faint soul aura from himself. What's going on? Asked Lin Piaomiao. I feel my soul presence, but I can't pinpoint its location. It means it's not in the same space as me, but it's not too far away. Night Sorrow said and retreated with the others. He knew Mo Tianji's soul power was very strong. If they got too close, Mo Tianji's soul power would detect them. After retreating to an area that Night Sorrow thought was safe, they stopped. So excited. What should we do? Asked Reese. It's still difficult because I can't pinpoint her exact location. If we search recklessly, she'll be alerted. I'm afraid she'll run away once she's alerted, said Night Sorrow. Alliance Master, don't worry. The 7th sect elder injured her. Poo Luo shouldn't be a problem. Plus, that cunning woman is still injured, said Reese. What do you all think? Night Sorrow looked at the people around him. Damn, she's just an 8-star emperor. No matter how famous she was in the past, she's weak now, said the Great Demon King. Then let's continue searching. Everyone, get ready to attack at any time. If we make a big commotion, she'll notice and run away at any time. Everyone, keep your soul power in check. After Yi Shang finished speaking, he went to the area where he had sensed the aura and slowly searched the area ahead. After moving forward for a while, Night Sorrow realized the feeling had weakened. Then, he returned to the place where the feeling was the strongest. Then, he searched left and right to confirm the area where the feeling was the strongest. Because they weren't in the same space, Night Sorrow could only confirm the distance before he could confirm the location. Chapter 1914. Inside the spatial treasure, Mo Tianji was refining Lu Qi's soaring sword force. When the energy in her body was almost depleted, Mo Tianji decided to take some elixirs to recover. While taking the elixirs, she used her soul power to scan outside the spatial treasure. Mo Tianji's expression changed. Mo Tianji's expression changed. She had discovered Yi Shang and the others. This was a fatal crisis for her. She was not in a good state at the moment. Her body was still ravaged by the soaring sword force and the after-effects of burning her essence blood. Besides, Mo Tianji also knew that the people searching for her were not newbies. Pu Luo was a registered expert in the Demon Wing clan. After all, there were only so many law enforcement elders in the 100 Races Alliance. There were not many who were strong in combat, and Pu Luo was one of them. Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King were also recorded in the Demon Wing clan. They were not elders, but their combat strength was outstanding. They had once led a group to heavily injure the Demon Wing clan. Otherwise, the Demon Wing clan would not have used Yu Kuan to ambush the group led by Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King. Yu Zhu and Rui Si were also recorded. They were the two strongest elders beside Pu Luo. Now that they were all here, Mo Tianji felt the severity of the situation. She did not dare to act rashly. After thinking about it, Mo Tianji felt that she could only risk her life. She was sure that Night Sorrow and the others had already discovered her. As for how, she did not know. Night Sorrow, are you sure she's here? The Great Demon King's voice rang in their divine seas. This was Pu Luo's suggestion. They communicated through soul voice transmission. Mo Tianji was nearby. Even if she could not hear Night Sorrow and the others' conversation, she could tell from their lips. Yes, I'm sure she's nearby. She should be in a spatial treasure. She's not in the same spatial world as us, so I can't pinpoint her exact location. I can only use my senses to narrow down the range. Night Sorrow's voice rang in their divine seas. Then continue to narrow down the range. The smaller the range, the better. Once it's small enough, we can catch her, said Pu Luo. Then, they continued to search. In order to prevent Mo Tianji from ambushing Night Sorrow, Pu Luo followed closely behind Night Sorrow. In the end, Night Sorrow narrowed the range to a radius of 5 kilometers. He could not reduce the range any further. You guys split up and block the way. I'll grab her. The Great Demon King arrived at the center of the 10-mile radius. He stretched out his arms and released his domain, enveloping the 10-mile radius area. Mo Tianji, there's no way you wouldn't know that we've made such a big commotion to capture you. But don't move. If you move, we'll discover you. You can't stay still either. Overturn the rivers and seas, fire of destruction. The Great Demon King shouted at Mo Tianji. Then, he shook his arms. The lake water within a radius of 12 miles flew up and compressed into a ball of water. Then, the Great Demon King released a ball of black fire to envelop it. As the black flames burned, the water balls condensed from the lake water within a radius of 10 miles evaporated continuously, then turned into nothingness. If Mo Tianji's spatial Dharma treasure was in the lake water, it would not be refined but would be discovered. It's not in the water. The Great Demon King looked at the soil at the bottom of the lake. However, he asked Night Sorrow mentally if he could still feel it. After receiving Night Sorrow's confirmation, the Great Demon King smiled. You're hiding it very well. Again. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. The Great Demon King grabbed the air with his right hand and pulled out a large piece of soil from the bottom of the lake. Then, he continued to refine it with the fire of destruction. Tianji knew that if she did not move, she would be in a passive position. The Great Demon King would soon discover her location. When the Great Demon King pulled out soil and sand from the bottom of the lake again, Tianji moved. She directly used the heavenly concubine phantom. After countless phantoms appeared, Tianji's real body appeared in the area between Night Sorrow and Yuzhu. Then, she used the demonic wings blood escape. Fight? Tianji did not want to fight because it was unrealistic. There was no one to bully here. Of course, Night Sorrow was easier to bully, but she could not bully him either. Her real body is here. Desolate Destruction Palm. Night Sorrow shouted. Then, he sent out a palm with the strongest control effect. After sending out a palm with his left hand, Night Sorrow stabbed the blood Chilan evil slaying spear in his right hand at Tianji's figure, which he felt the strongest. The power of virtue supported the blood Chilan evil slaying spear as he used the destruction true dragon incantation. How could Tianji fight with Night Sorrow? Yu Zhu and Lin Piaomiao had already charged over. Tianji's 3,000 feet long white hair danced in the air and broke through Night Sorrow's Sky Emperor Destruction Palm's control of space. Then, her figure flashed as she used the demonic shadow blood escape. Night Sorrow's destruction true dragon incantation's confinement effect was dispersed by Tianji's white hair. However, the spear light still shot into Tianji's chest. After a muffled groan, Tianji's figure instantly sped up to an unimaginable speed. She didn't dodge Night Sorrow's attack because she didn't want to be interrupted. Pu Luo and the Great Demon King started to chase. The others followed closely behind. Among them, Pu Luo and the Great Demon King were the fastest. Night Sorrow used the Void Step, but he still couldn't catch up. Lin Piaomiao was pulling Night Sorrow forward. The speed of an Imperial Emperor and an Imperial Emperor's Tribulation Cultivator couldn't be compared, even if you were good at speed. This treacherous woman can even burn her essence blood? Yu Zhu cursed. Burning my essence blood is better than being surrounded, Lin Piaomiao said. Tianji used her soul power to detect the pursuers behind her. She burned her essence blood and sped up. She had to get rid of them. After a while, Night Sorrow shook his head helplessly. He couldn't feel his soul power. This meant that the distance between them was too far. He wasn't strong enough. This was the reason why he couldn't catch up. 15 minutes later, Night Sorrow and the others saw Pu Luo and the Great Demon King. Night Sorrow, I'm sorry. This woman burned her essence blood without caring about the cost. We couldn't catch up, Pu Luo said apologetically. This woman is good at escaping. We didn't want this to happen. No one needs to apologize. Night Sorrow smiled at Pu Luo. We miscalculated. Let's not tell anyone about this. Otherwise, we'll be scolded, the Great Demon King said. Haha. This is our mistake. If we inform the Grand Elder or King Yowu, this woman won't be able to escape. She got lucky this time. It's just that the Alliance Master gave her a shot, Pu Luo said. It's okay. She burned her essence blood twice. The after effects are probably very serious. She'll be obedient from now on. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that no one wanted this to happen. It'll be hard for her to use the strength of an Imperial Emperor. Her body can't take it. Her body will collapse if she uses the power of an Imperial Emperor. Pu Luo nodded. Do you think she'll notice the soul imprint I left on her? If not, we can continue to catch her, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chapter 1915. This time, Tianji ran far away. She ran tens of millions of miles. Her body was very weak, so she went into the spatial treasure to rest. After entering the spatial magical treasure, Tianji immediately released her domain and enveloped the inside of the magical treasure. She knew that she had something that Yi Shang and the others could use to locate her. If she wanted to be safe and recover, she had to solve this problem. Mo Tianji checked the items in the spatial treasure and storage ring one by one. She didn't find any problems. Then, Mo Tianji looked at herself and scanned her body with her soul power. When her soul power scanned her body, a light appeared under the hair at the back of her head. Bastard. No wonder I couldn't catch you in the reincarnation battlefield. You left a soul mark. Mo Tianji directly scattered the soul mark. The more Mo Tianji thought about it, the angrier she got. She had been famous for countless years and had never suffered any losses. No one could scheme against her. But recently, she had fallen one after another because of Night Sorrow. Because she didn't scheme against Night Sorrow. After scattering Night Sorrow's soul mark, Mo Tianji rubbed her chest. Her chest had been pierced by Night Sorrow's spear light. Her robe was pierced and the place where she was attacked still hurt. Looking at the torn robe, Mo Tianji searched and found that there was only one set of robe in her storage ring. Now, she could only change into it. With energy circulating, the robe was not dirty. After returning to Xingyue City, Night Sorrow called for a feast. The people from the Humanitarian League were unhappy because they had been careless and let Mo Tianji escape. 2Y Update K New Fastest X0, Jab Lu Qi was a bit puzzled. The people from the Humanitarian League were all cheerful people. They weren't like this normally. What's wrong with you guys? It's fine if you didn't find her. There's no need to be unhappy. Lu Qi said. I thought of a problem. After she is safe, she will definitely check herself. The soul mark I left in her hair will definitely be found. But today, she is wearing a purple robe. I also left a soul imprint on her white silk skirt. The purple robe was cut by my spear. Is it possible for her to wear the white silk skirt again? Night Sorrow looked at Pu Luo and the others and said. There really is such a possibility. Pu Luo's eyes lit up. What are you talking about? Could it be that you found Mo Tianji and she ran away? Lu Qi was stunned. Yes. She burned her blood essence and used her innate skill. We couldn't stop her. We chased her for millions of miles, but she ran away again. Pu Luo said. You're all foolish. Since you found her, you'll naturally find more helpers to kill her directly. Lu Qi glanced at Pu Luo. Seventh Elder, don't tell the Grand Elder about this. We'll get scolded. We'll continue to capture them, Night Sorrow said to Lu Qi. No, you just didn't think of it. She burned her blood essence again. She's having a hard time. Lu Qi smiled. He knew that Night Sorrow and the others were unhappy. There was no point in scolding them, so he comforted them. Night Sorrow shot her with his spear. I chased her for a while and made her burn a lot of blood essence. Pu Luo said. Seventh Elder, drink this jar of good wine. Night Sorrow took out a jar of green blood wine and gave it to Lu Qi. Actually, you've already won. You were able to find her and trick her. That's already very good. Lu Qi opened the jar of green blood wine that Night Sorrow gave him and poured a cup for everyone. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow and the others left. They still wanted to look for her. Mo Tianji didn't stay in the same place this time. She recovered a little and left after scouting. She had to find a safe place to rest. The Humanitarian League's people were crazy. She was worried that she would be dug up again. Also, she couldn't go to human territory. She reckoned that the entire celestial realm was looking for her. After a fruitless search, Night Sorrow and the others returned to the ethereal imperial city. Lin Piaomiao ordered all the cities in the Misty Dynasty, even the small towns and villages, to pay attention to Mo Tianji's whereabouts. Pu Luo gave the order of the law enforcement clan elder. All the surrounding factions were to put Mo Tianji on the wanted list. He also personally went to the Godly Devil Castle to request for Mo Tianji's arrest. At the same time, he gave the mission of guarding the teleportation portals. After the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow and the others stayed in the ethereal imperial city. Mo Tianji's activities were also in this area. She couldn't use the teleportation portals. If she wanted to fly and travel in the celestial realm, it would be exhausting. Are you still thinking about Mo Tianji? Lin Piaomiao came to Night Sorrow, who was thinking by the waterside pavilion. It's a pity. I should have prepared some backup plans. The main thing is that I underestimated her. If we could get rid of her, we would have gotten rid of a huge threat, Night Sorrow said as he nodded. Just now, I brought a clairvoyant to Xingyu's city and followed her traces. The results weren't clear. She has a way to avoid divination, Lin Piaomiao said. What we're worried about now is her sneak attack. However, I have a way to deal with that. Last time, my 9-domain world clone grabbed a strand of her white hair. That strand of white hair is with me. If Mo Tianji gets close, that strand of white hair will definitely react, said Yishang. Yes. As long as we don't let her get my body and harm Jun Xuanji, there's no point for her to come to the celestial realm. Lin Piaomiao's eyes lit up. She felt that Night Sorrow's thoughts were indeed meticulous. He could even think of some problems. Night Sorrow returned to the 9-domain world and obtained Mo Tianji's hair from the 9-domain world clone. He didn't pull the hair of Mo Tianji's body because it would alert her. Night Sorrow cut off a strand of hair and gave it to Lu Qi. Holding the strand of hair, Lu Qi understood what it meant. This is good. She'll know once she gets close. Lu Qi wrapped the strand of hair around her finger and used her energy to stimulate it. As long as Mo Tianji appeared, the strand of hair would react. After returning to the ethereal imperial city, Night Sorrow left a strand of Mo Tianji's white hair for Shi Yan, who was staying in the Night Moon Villa. Next, he went to the god capital and left another strand of hair for Shi Yan's body. It could be said that Mo Tianji shouldn't get close to these three places or she would be discovered. After doing all this, Night Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa in the ethereal imperial city. After settling down, Night Sorrow cultivated his spear art every day. His few absolute arts were already very mature. However, without his body, there was a limit to what his clone could do. Mo Tianji found a safe place to start recovering. She knew that it would take a long time for her to fully recover, but this was something that couldn't be helped. She had carelessly fallen into Night Sorrow's trap. She planned to recover first before going to the Black Dragons and start her plan from there. Chapter 1916. So it's Lord Seven Rain Monarch. I wonder if Lord Monarch has any plans for Night Sorrow? Night Sorrow asked. Nothing much. I just want to talk to you for a bit. Come to my residence. The Seven Rain Monarch sized up Night Sorrow. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, Lord Monarch's residence? Isn't that too far? I can't leave right now. Night Sorrow hesitated before speaking. It's not far. I have a residence in Nine Heavens City. Let's go. The Seven Rain Monarch waved his arm and wrapped Night Sorrow in energy as they began to fly. A moment later, they arrived in front of a luxurious residence. In front of the residence, the Seven Rain Monarch released Night Sorrow, who was wrapped in energy. This is my residence in Nine Heavens City. Don't experts cultivate their bodies and minds, and live in simple and elegant courtyards? Yi Shan said as he looked at the incomparably luxurious mansion. You don't want to live a good life and choose to live like a monk? That's stupid. There's something wrong with your mind. The Seven Rain Monarch scoffed at Night Sorrow's opinion. That's not it either. Maybe it's because we have different pursuits. Night Sorrow said. Maybe. Come, let's go in and have a cup of tea. Then you can go back. You might have to go into seclusion from tomorrow onwards. The Seven Rain Monarch swayed his skirt and entered the residence. Night Sorrow had no reason not to enter. Besides, Night Sorrow felt that the Seven Rain Monarch didn't have any evil intentions. A monarch wouldn't have any thoughts about a holy king. Even if he did, he wouldn't have to waste so much effort. There were too many ways. Sit. I just have a few things to say. Those bastards are all watching. If I don't talk to you today, I won't have the chance tomorrow. The Seven Rain Monarch said. Lord Seven Rains Monarch, please speak. I, Night Sorrow, am all ears, Night Sorrow said. Have some tea first. It's like this, you are from a small world, and the profound heaven world is not your home. It doesn't matter which large world you live in. This Great One has invited you to the Seven Rain world, and you can join this Great One's Seven Rain Valley. You don't have to be in a hurry to reject. The Seven Rain Sovereign brewed a pot of tea and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. Master Monarch, I am a half-king now. Even a king shouldn't be so serious, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, but you are different. I have high hopes for you. You might not agree for the time being. Young people are stubborn. So, whenever you have any ideas, you can come to the Seven Rain world to find me. This is my messaging crystal. Take it. The Seven Rain Monarch tossed a messaging crystal to Night Sorrow. Lord Monarch, is this appropriate? Night Sorrow was a little taken aback because the Seven Rains Monarch's words were very formal and very serious. It's appropriate. When you are in danger, you can crush this messaging crystal. I might be able to help you once. However, when that time comes, don't reject this Great One. The Seven Rains Monarch said with a smile. Thank you for your kindness, Seven Rains Monarch. Night Sorrow will remember your kindness today. Night Sorrow stood up and clasped his hands towards the Seven Rains Monarch. Good. You have to go to the Will of Heaven and Earth cave to cultivate within the next 100 years. When you come out of seclusion, you might be greeted with a storm. The Grey Cloud Monarch and the Moon Monarch are both vengeful people. They will not let you off easily. If you can't take it, the Seven Rains world is a good place for you to go. The Seven Rains Monarch said with a smile. Night Sorrow will remember. Night Sorrow nodded. All right, then you can go back. I think the people around you are also very anxious. The Seven Rains Monarch said when he saw Night Sorrow. After clasping his hands towards the Seven Rains Monarch again, Night Sorrow walked out of the mansion's main hall. Just as Night Sorrow was about to leave the main hall, the Seven Rains Monarch said, Night Sorrow, this Great One is very curious about your title. Is it convenient for you? If it's convenient, you can tell me. This Great One is too curious. It's fine if it's inconvenient. Standing at the entrance of the main hall, Night Sorrow considered whether he should say it or not. If he said it, it might cause trouble. If he didn't say it, he would be letting down the Seven Rains Monarch's kindness. It would make him feel uncomfortable. I received a title when I was in the small world. In the Nine Heavens Pagoda, this title has been strengthened. It is now called Immortal. Night Sorrow said and walked out of the main hall. Don't worry. This Great One will keep this secret for you. Before you have the power to protect yourself, you have to keep it a secret as well. When Night Sorrow walked out of the mansion, the Seven Rains Monarch's voice entered Night Sorrow's ears. Hearing the Seven Rains Monarch's words, Night Sorrow felt at ease. The Seven Rains Monarch's words were kind. If he had bad intentions, he wouldn't have been able to leave this mansion. After Night Sorrow left, the Seven Rains Monarch couldn't calm down for a long time. She knew that she was right about Night Sorrow. The immortal title was too terrifying. Even monarchs didn't dare to say that they were immortal. As for whether Night Sorrow's title was official or not, the Seven Rains Monarch didn't doubt it. She didn't understand the world Night Sorrow had lived in. Perhaps it was very small. The title bestowed to Night Sorrow might not be official. However, this time, Nine Heavens world recognized Night Sorrow's title. The title was strengthened by the Nine Heavens Pagoda. This meant that it was effective. At the very least, the Nine Heavens world recognized it. What was the situation in the Nine Heavens world? It was the core of a group of worlds. It was a large world in the 100 worlds. The recognition of the 9 heavens world was equivalent to the recognition of the heavenly Tao. Good. The 9 heavens world group finally has an outstanding youth. The 7 Rains monarch took a big sip of tea and said. Night Sorrow left the 7 Rains monarch's mansion and flew directly to the guest house. Haha. You're back. You've been drinking for so long. Qian Zhenyu said with a smile. At this time, there was a banquet in the courtyard of the guest house. Night Sorrow's parents, Wu Lingfei, Zhu Jiuyun, Xue Shi, and Night Sorrow's 3 wives were all present. Night Sorrow wasn't from the Xiantian dynasty, but he was from the mysterious sky world. The mysterious sky world was the representative of the mysterious sky world. Night Sorrow had done his best to win face for the mysterious sky world, which meant that he had won glory for the mysterious sky world. Sorry. I've made everyone wait for a long time. Night Sorrow said. You're so domineering. This time, you showed off a lot. Qian Ziwei said with a smile. It wasn't easy. Night Sorrow nodded at Qian Ziwei. Is not equal to me oh is not equal to by is not equal to ga is not equal to. It really wasn't easy. Although you drank one meal, you still have to drink this one. Qian Zhenyu said. Brother, you're so domineering. Qian Yu said as he patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. After drinking, Qian Zhenyu said, your original body will go into seclusion. Your clone will stay behind. You can be with your family and deal with some trivial matters. I think so too. It's meaningless for my clone to follow my original body to cultivate. It's better to go back and cultivate blacksmithing and array formation. Night Sorrow nodded. Brother, when you return to the mysterious sky world, come to the mysterious sky world first. Take your siblings and have a good time. They've been worried sick for the past few days. Qian Yu said with a smile. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow pondered. He felt that it would be difficult for him to have peace in the future. This time, he had stirred up trouble. He was worried that the Tianding Gate wouldn't be able to withstand the revenge of the Tsangyin monarch and the Moon monarch. Chapter 1917. Then, Beixing brought the 8-dragon cauldron to the 2 extreme cities' teleportation array. The guards of the 2 extreme cities' teleportation array stopped Beixing. I want to go to the 9-domain world. I'm Night Sorrow's friend. Beixing said. Hearing that he was Night Sorrow's friend, the guards let him go because Yen Tianpo's voice transmission had reached their ears. After 2 teleportations, Beixing arrived at the city in the sky. After exiting the city in the sky's teleportation array, Night Sorrow, Xue Shi, and the rest came out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Comfortable. Night Sorrow stretched his back. At this moment, Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not say anything and went forward to hug each of them. Why did you come back? Yang Lei asked. Can you come back home and let me have a cup of tea first? Oh right, this is my friend Beixing. He's a very good friend. Night Sorrow introduced. The 3 sisters are so beautiful. Meilan, Qiu, each has their own style. Night Sorrow, you're so lucky. Beixing said with a smile. Then, the group arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. Yang Lei also went to the Spacetime Pagoda to inform those who had not broken through that Night Sorrow had returned. After a while, everyone who was cultivating in the Spacetime Pagoda came out. Seeing Night Sorrow, everyone was very happy. Under his mother's Yuqing's questioning, Night Sorrow told her about his situation in the sky profound world. Of course, he did not say anything about the dangerous things. Then, Night Sorrow told her about his thoughts and decision. Great. After we have our own city, we will have a firm foothold in the sky profound world. Sky Underworld Saint said happily. Currently, we can only build and not make it public because we can't withstand the attacks of others. We can only wait for Night Sorrow to enter the King realm before we have the capital to establish ourselves. Zhu Jiuyun said. That's right. We can't publicize it for now, but the construction of the city can begin, Night Sorrow said. Without a king realm cultivator, we don't have enough confidence. I don't know how long it will take for our faction to have a king realm cultivator. It's quite depressing, Jun Xuanji sighed. Haha. This is the situation that no one is clear about. If it wasn't for Yi Shang wanting to achieve greater things, he might have already entered the sovereign king realm. Wu Lingfei smiled and explained Yi Shang's situation. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. King's realm was unreachable in their eyes. It was a realm that was very far away. Everyone only had a wish for a king to appear in the Nine Realms world, but now, Wu Lingfei said that Night Sorrow had already reached this level. Night Sorrow is now a dual attribute half-step king. Once he takes another step forward, king will be no match for him, Zhu Jiuyan said. All right. Long Xianxing roared. This roar gave everyone a fright. Commander, leave the construction of the city to us. You can go and cultivate in peace, Long Xianxing said. After a discussion, everyone felt that it was very suitable to place the transfer array in the city in the sky. This was because there were no outsiders here, and everyone was a core member of the Nine Realms world. Everyone agreed, and Yi Shang set up the inter-realm teleportation array not far from the side of the mansion. Night Sorrow set up 1,000 derivation illusionary array outside the transfer array. At the same time, he told everyone that if anything happened, they just had to insert spirit stones and the array would activate. After installing the realm teleportation crystal, it lit up. Night Sorrow brought everyone to the Seven Nights Mountain to take a look. Everyone was very satisfied with this place, and felt that it was very suitable to build the base of the Nine Realms world here. Father, the transfer array is in the city in the sky, in the territory of the Night Moon Empire. There are more craftsmen building the Seven Nights City in the Night Moon Empire, Night Sorrow said to Yi Wuyo. Alright, that's not a problem. But building a city requires planning and resources, Yi Wuyo nodded. There are spirit stones in here. Father, take them and deal with them as you see fit. Night Sorrow took out 5 to 6 storage rings. Son, we can use the resources of the Nine Realms world directly. So, we can't use the spirit stones, Yu Qing said with a smile. Night Sorrow, we can do this. Build a secret transfer array in the Big Dipper city, and send your people there to purchase resources from other places, then bring them over, Bei Xing said. Yes. But the people purchasing the resources are too weak. If they are not strong enough, they will be suspicious. Senior Long Xianxing, you can arrange it as you see fit. But the people who have been to the Tianding Gate must not show themselves, or they will be targeted. Also, set up an ordinary transfer array to connect to other places. The transfer array is currently a secret of the Seven Nights City, so it must be hidden well, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone nodded. The transfer array is extremely valuable, and we cannot afford to lose it. Although the transfer array cannot be attacked, there must be people guarding it. If there is a problem, crush my soul crystal. Night Sorrow gave a soul crystal to Long Xianxing. Then, he changed to another area and set up another transmission array. Since the transmission crystals were installed, the transmission arrays were separated from the ordinary ones. This way, it would be safer. Then, Night Sorrow asked Wu Lingfei and Zhu Jiuyan's clone to stay here. Originally, Night Sorrow wanted Xueshi to stay as well, but Xueshi was unwilling. She felt that Night Sorrow had to have someone by his side. Then, Night Sorrow, Bei Xing, and Xueshi left the Seven Nights Mountain and returned to the Big Dipper city. Under Bei Xing's suggestion, Night Sorrow set up a transfer array in Bei Xing's private residence. There were guards in Bei Xing's residence, and Bei Xing instructed them to destroy the transfer array if any strangers attacked here. G. Cool Square Root a Craftsman Net version 6. Not long after Night Sorrow set up the transfer crystal, Long Xianxing, Xian Wenxiu, and the others arrived. Night Sorrow, one of your people should stay here. This way, it will be easier to identify the people entering and leaving the transfer array. The guards in my residence can fight, but they will not recognize your people, Bei Xing said. Then I will do it, Shang Luo said. Night Sorrow set up another transfer crystal on the transfer array in Bei Xing's residence. He wanted to set up a transfer array in the Sage Pavilion as well. This way, even if someone was watching him, he could return to the Nine Regions world without any problems. Night Sorrow felt that everything was almost done. He did not have to worry about the construction of the Seven Nights world anymore. Yi Shang calmed down in the Celestial Master Pavilion, but the rest of the world was not. The sovereigns were all wondering whether Yi Shang had obtained the soul cultivation liquid or not. Although they had guessed that Yi Shang's chances of getting it were slim, there was still a chance. If there were only 3 drops, then other than Lord Xian Tian, no one else would have a chance. But what if there were more than 3 drops? If a sovereign went to another sovereign's world, there would be a reason. If a sovereign went to the Xian celestial realm to look for Night Sorrow, Lord Xian Tian would not tolerate it. Chapter 1918. The Canyon sovereign did have this thought in mind. However, the consequences of starting a realm war would be dire. He needed to find allies. In terms of strength, the Grey Cloud sect was not strong enough. The Grey Cloud sovereign could only control slightly more than half of the Sky Dome realm's strength because the No Beginning sovereign still controlled a portion of it. Furthermore, the portion controlled by the No Beginning sovereign was the elite force. In comparison, the Xian celestial realm only had one ruler, the Xian Tian monarch. The entire Xian celestial realm was under the control of the Xian Tian monarch. The Ashen Cloud sect was unable to fight against an entire realm. After pondering for a moment, the Canyon monarch teleported to the Demon Moon world. Just as the Grey Cloud sovereign arrived at the Demon Moon world, the Demon Moon sovereign appeared. Of course, it was his soul avatar. Canyon, why have you come to my Moon Demon world? The Moon Demon world overlord looked at the Canyon monarch and asked. You didn't show up recently because of the continent of the 9 clouds. Do you want to be as strong as Monarch Shinshao? Now, we have an opportunity, the Canyon sovereign said. Moon Monarch's face darkened when he heard that Canyon monarch mention the 9 heavens realm. He had lost face because of the 2 monarchs from the 9 heavens realm. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Net 0-inch soul nurturing liquid. The reason why the Divine Firmament Sovereign is so much stronger than us is because he once used the soul cultivation liquid to nourish his soul. His soul power is strong, and the will of heaven and earth is more effective than us. However, we might have a chance now, the Canyon sovereign said. If there's such a good thing, you, Ash Cloud, will go crazy and snatch it. Will you think of others? I, the Moon Demon sovereign, am not someone you can use as a tool. The Moon Demon sovereign narrowed his eyes as he looked at the Grey Cloud sovereign. The Canyon sovereign pondered for a moment before explaining the whole story to the Moon Demon sovereign. You mean there is a high possibility? Moon Monarch asked after a moment of thought. Naturally, the Ashen Cloud sect has to be the vanguard when fighting against the profound celestial realm. Tell me, do you think I would do this if it was impossible? The Ashen Cloud sovereign asked. Have you thought about it? If we join forces and declare war on the Xian celestial realm, will the Xian celestial realm find other allies? Qiyu, Hailan, and Tingxi are all on good terms with him, so I won't do it. You can go back now. The Moon Monarch waved his hand at the Canyon monarch, indicating that he was sending off his guest. The Grey Cloud sovereign exhaled deeply as he sat on the teleportation array and left. The Demon Moon sovereign wasn't willing to form an alliance. His plan for a realm war could only go down the drain. The Moon Demon monarch sneered as he watched the Canyon monarch leave. He would never engage in a life-and-death battle with the profound celestial realm. That would be equivalent to sacrificing 800 of his own men. However, he would never let go of the opportunity to obtain the soul cultivation liquid. After returning to the Demon Moon Hall, the Demon Moon monarch gathered his subordinates, the Beginner King, and ordered them to capture Night Sorrow at all costs. Demon Moon Monarch's 3 junior kings immediately accepted the order and went to the mystic celestial realm to look for Night Sorrow. After the Tsangyan sovereign returned to the Tsangyan sect, he also made the same arrangements. Since the battle of forces could no longer continue, they could only continue with the one-on-one battles. However, he knew that the chances of success were very low. If Knight Sorrow wanted to hide, it would be very difficult to find him. Furthermore, the Black Heaven Sovereign was also protecting him. Knight Sorrow knew that the world would be very chaotic. Therefore, he and Xueshi stayed in the Sage Master Pavilion and lived a quiet life. Knight Sorrow spent his days refining pills, refining weapons, and cultivating his combat skills. This was because he still needed to cultivate the combination of the 3 combat skills that he had just researched. There was still room for improvement. While Xueshi was taking care of Knight Sorrow, she was also guiding Ning Yun and Qiuyue in their cultivation. Ning Yun and Qiuyue knew about the relationship between Xueshi and Knight Sorrow. Although they were not husband and wife in name, they were no different from husband and wife. The two of them called Xueshi Aunt. Knight Sorrow also frequently guided Ning Yun and Qiuyue in their cultivation. He would explain his recent cultivation of energy techniques to the two of them. Master, after reaching the Saint Realm, one has to rely on the power of laws to fight. Does that mean that energy techniques are useless? Qiuyue asked. In the past, I had the same idea as you. However, that is not the case. Let me demonstrate it to you. Knight Sorrow said. In fact, after entering the Saint Realm, he had neglected the research and development of energy techniques. Knight Sorrow pulled out the Space Splitter Spear from his back. With a shake of his hand, he executed the Space Whirling Dragon Kill. The combination of shock wave and wave force attack blasted a black hole the size of a water tank in the space in front of him. Looking at the shocked Ning Yun and Qiuyue, as well as Xueshi, whose eyes were filled with astonishment, Knight Sorrow waved his hand and flattened the black hole. What kind of combat skill is this? Xueshi asked. Space Whirling Dragon Kill, Space Shock Wave, and Desolation Shock Force. Knight Sorrow said. These days, when he was cultivating, his energy was restrained. Therefore, Xueshi and the others did not know the power of Knight Sorrow's combat skills. Master, I was wrong. This is too powerful. I have to cultivate it. Qiuyue bowed to Knight Sorrow. Take your time. It's fine as long as you understand the concept correctly. Knight Sorrow said. After explaining the theory of energy exertion skills to Ning Yun and Qiuyue, Knight Sorrow went to refine pills. He had collected a lot of pill materials in the boundless soul realm. Half a month had passed. Ning Yun and Qiuyue planned to go out to gain experience because actual combat was the best way to temper people. Knight Sorrow did not object to the two's experience. Knight Sorrow also never objected to such things. What he could do was to guide them carefully and help them with some resources. Shortly after Ning Yun and Qiuyue left, Bei Xing came. She told Knight Sorrow that the primary king of the Demon Moon Realm, Grey Cloud Sect, and Elemental Spirit Realm had all arrived in the mysterious Celestial Realm. Their target was obviously Knight Sorrow. All of this was within Knight Sorrow's expectations. Now that he was back, whether he got the soul cultivation liquid or not, the other party would make plans according to what he got. For this, Knight Sorrow felt that there was no need to pay attention to it. The courtyard he lived in had an array formation that isolated probing. It was very difficult for the other party to find him. He still needed to refine pills and forge tools. Bei Xing supported Knight Sorrow's idea. If Knight Sorrow did not move, there would not be any trouble. The Grey Cloud sect did not get any benefits when they came to Big Dipper City last time. Now they would not be too presumptuous in Big Dipper City. After 2 days of peace, Bei Xing brought news again. The news made Knight Sorrow feel disgusted. The spies of the Sky South dynasty had once again acted as the lackeys of the Grey Cloud sect. Despicable people are really invincible. Xueshi's face was full of killing intent. Well, there will be a day to deal with them, so don't worry. Knight Sorrow was now used to the despicable conduct of the Sky South dynasty. In addition, the primary king of the Scarlet Fire Sovereign has also come from the Scarlet Fire world. The mysterious celestial realm has really become the core of the turmoil. Bei Xing shook her head helplessly. Night Sorrow just smiled. The tree wants to be quiet, but the wind will not stop. This was the portrayal of his current situation. What could he do? The only thing he could do was to stabilize and wait for his main body to break through. After his main body broke through, the fighting strength of Night Sorrow's clone would increase. Chapter 1919. I see. That's much safer. It's very difficult for a beginner king to kill me. In the boundless soul world, it's not like I haven't escaped from an intermediate king, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Without an intermediate king, Night Sorrow wasn't too afraid. But in fact, sometimes, you don't look for trouble, but trouble comes to you. Night Sorrow wanted to cultivate quietly, but trouble came again. Ning Yun returned with serious injuries. Looking at the seriously injured Ning Yun, Night Sorrow frowned. Where's Chiyue? Master, I'm sorry. I didn't protect junior sister Chiyue well. Junior sister Chiyue was captured. Ning Yun knelt on the ground, bleeding from the corner of her mouth. Yi Shan's expression was very ugly. He attached great importance to Chiyue's safety. He stretched out his hand to help Ning Yun up and then sent a stream of energy to stabilize Ning Yun's injuries. Tell Master about the situation. Who captured your junior sister? Yanmen's sect. Junior sister lacked a main ingredient for alchemy, so we went to Yanmen Mountain to look for it. In the end, we encountered people from Yanmen's sect's Dongyan Mountain Hall. They spoke rudely and said that they wanted to capture junior sister Chiyue and give her to the young hall master as a concubine. After a fight, I was thrown off a cliff. I didn't die, so I came back to report, Ning Yun said. Night Sorrow took out a map and circled it, finding the location of Yanmen Mountain Range's Dongyan Mountain. Exhaling, Night Sorrow put away the map and handed Ning Yun a bottle of pills. Take the pills to heal your injuries. Xueshi, take care of this place. I'll go with you. Xueshi said. No need. If it works, I can do it myself. If it doesn't work, it's useless for you to follow. Don't mention this to anyone for the time being. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array after saying that. When he arrived at North Star's residence, Night Sorrow put on his mask. After leaving North Star's residence, Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array. Originally, Night Sorrow had planned to go to Seven Nights Mountain and then fly to Mount Dongyan. That would be relatively safe, but after some calculations, Night Sorrow felt that it was a waste of time. Time was of the essence, so even if it was risky, he had to teleport. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array and teleported away for a while. A beginner king frowned. A half-step king? This doesn't match with Big Dipper City's half-step king. Could it be him? However, by the time he entered the teleportation array, Night Sorrow had already disappeared. After a few teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at Yanmen City. Then, he flew towards Dongyan Mountain. There was a teleportation array in Yanmen City that led to the entrance of Dongyan Mountain. Night Sorrow didn't teleport there directly because he felt that it would attract attention and would be detrimental to the rescue. After flying to Mount Dongyan, Night Sorrow activated the 9 regions' origin beads and began searching with his soul power. Saving Chiyue was his top priority. If something happened to her, it would be useless even if he massacred the gate of Yenshan sect. In Night Sorrow's heart, the entire gate of Yenshan sect wasn't as important as Chiyue. After probing the teleportation array, Night Sorrow brandished his Void Splitter Spear and destroyed it. He knew that a battle was inevitable, so he destroyed the teleportation array first. After destroying the teleportation array, Night Sorrow continued to investigate Mount Dongyan. However, at that moment, someone had already discovered Night Sorrow. It was a 1-star king. Who are you? How dare you act presumptuously in my Yanmen Mountain? The 1-star king roared at Night Sorrow. I don't have time to deal with you now. Scram! Night Sorrow growled. Night Sorrow used the spatial law to increase his speed and searched for traces of Chiyue in Mount Dongyan. The One-Star King chased after him, but his speed was on a completely different level from Night Sorrow's. Yan Fei was shocked. He was a king, but his speed was far inferior to Night Sorrow, who was a half-step king. If he couldn't catch up to Night Sorrow, then no one in Gate of Yenshan Sect's Mount Dongyan could contend with Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow dodged Yan Fei's pursuit, his soul power swept through the entrance of Mount Dongyan. He still hadn't found Chiyue. When he couldn't find Chiyue on the main peak of Mount Dongyan, Night Sorrow began to circle the main peak in search. As for Yan Fei, the Earth Attribute One-Star King, Night Sorrow didn't care. He couldn't catch up to him at all. When he flew to the side peak, Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with anger. He found traces of Chiyue. In the hall of a courtyard, Chiyue was hung up. Her body was covered in blood. 2 women were waving leather whips at her. Another man was sitting on an armchair, drinking wine and saying unbearable words. What made Night Sorrow's guts burst was that Chiyue's right arm and right leg were twisted irregularly. It was obvious that they had been broken. I don't agree. If you don't agree, we'll play once. Although it's a pity, I can accept it, said the man sitting on the armchair. He was Yan Fei's grandson, Yan Jinghua. He. You're overthinking it. At most, I'll die. Don't even think about getting your way. Chiyue sneered. Even if you die, I'll still get my way. Yan Jinghua laughed sinisterly. Master. Uncle, you'll take revenge for Chiyue. Chiyue won't be able to stay by your side to make tea for you. Chiyue raised her head and muttered. She planned to end her own life. She didn't have any regrets because she knew that Night Sorrow would take revenge for her. In her heart, Night Sorrow was not only her master, but also her uncle. Today, I'll take revenge for you in front of your eyes. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, his body appeared in the hall. Night Sorrow waved his space splitter spear and the 2 women holding leather whips had their heads chopped off by a spatial blade. Night Sorrow waved his left arm and cut off the chains on Chiyue's body, pulling her to his side. Master, I want him dead. Chiyue grabbed Night Sorrow's robes with her left hand and said to Yan Jinghua. Good. Master promises you that today, blood will flow like a river. Night Sorrow nodded to Chiyue. Shameless boasting. A half-step king is an ant in front of a king. Don't you know that? Yan Fei stood in front of Yan Jinghua and held his battle blade as he looked at Night Sorrow. Cool craftsman T net Q head plus equals hair. Carrot, enter Master's 8 dragon cauldron and watch the battle. Night Sorrow completely ignored Yan Fei. Thank you for your hard work, Master. Chiyue's eyes were filled with tears. Her heart was filled with gratitude. When she was young and lonely, Night Sorrow had appeared and made her feel warmth. He had led her on the path of cultivation. Today, Night Sorrow had appeared at the most critical moment. He had appeared without knowing the opponent's strength, and all of this was to save her. With a wave of his hand, he transferred Chiyue into the 8 dragon cauldron and asked the weapon spirit to heal her with the power of medicine. Night Sorrow turned to look at Yan Fei and Yan Jinghua. Damn it, what do you think our Yanmen sect is? Yan Fei pointed his battle blade at Night Sorrow and roared. Although the Yanmen sect has a bad reputation, it has nothing to do with me. However, you shouldn't have touched my disciple. Today, I will kill you to get rid of evil. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. The Yanmen sect was the same as the Tiannan dynasty. They were cruel to their affiliated worlds. Night Sorrow was very against it, but it had nothing to do with him. However, he could not tolerate Chiyue being in such a miserable state. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the angry Yan Fei waved his battle blade and charged toward Night Sorrow. Then die. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear executed the space-revolving dragon kill and stabbed toward Yan Fei's battle blade. Chapter 1920. Night Sorrow's spear directly smashed Yan Fei's battle blade backwards. Yan Fei's earth attribute willpower was completely suppressed. He could not block Night Sorrow's spatial whirling dragon kill. However, Night Sorrow's attack was not finished. He shook Yan Fei's battle blade to the side. The energy of their weapons cancelled each other out. However, Night Sorrow followed up with a spatial vibration wave. Bang! With a muffled sound, Yan Fei's protective energy shield was shattered by Night Sorrow's vibration wave. Then, the energy wave sent his body flying. Soul extinguishing slash. After sending Yan Fei flying, Night Sorrow used soul extinguishing slash. The purple soul extinguishing slash crescent moon blade streaked across the space and slashed into Yan Fei's spirit sea. The soul extinguishing slash was effective. Night Sorrow's space splitter spear arrived and directly pierced Yan Fei's head. After killing Yan Fei, Night Sorrow waved his spear and used another spatial whirling dragon kill. He killed Yan Zhenghua, who was only an 8-star saint. After taking their storage rings, Yi Shang left the courtyard. At this time, many members of the Yanmen sect had rushed over. Previously, when Yi Shang and Yan Fei had been chasing each other in the air, many of them had seen them and chased after them. Night Sorrow's innate bloodline energy protected his body. He cut through the space and began to fight with the members of Yanmen sect. Actually, it could not be called a fight. It was a massacre because the members of Yanmen's sect who came over were all Saint Kings. Even King Yan Fei was killed by Night Sorrow, not to mention Saint Kings. When Night Sorrow fought with Xiao Zimo, he fought against 7 peak Saint Kings. Now, not to mention that Night Sorrow's strength had increased, these people were also much weaker than Xiao Zimo. After killing these people, Night Sorrow directly killed his way to Dongyan Mountain Branch. He looted all the resources and killed the core members. Then, he left. Night Sorrow knew that if this dragged on, it would be dangerous. He had no problem taking down a hall of the Gate of Goose sect, but there was definitely a powerful king in the headquarters of the Gate of Goose sect. He should have received the news by now. In fact, it was just as Night Sorrow had guessed. When Yan Fei was killed, the school of Yenshan's main peak knew about it. Yan Fei had a soul crystal in the hall of worship at the headquarters. Since he was killed, the soul crystal was stolen. The main peak of Yanmen's sect was 20,000 miles away from Mount Dongyan. It was impossible to rush there quickly. The teleportation array had also been destroyed by Night Sorrow. By the time the powerful king of Yanmen's sect arrived, Night Sorrow had already disappeared without a trace. After leaving Yanmen Mountain, Night Sorrow was no longer in a hurry. He found a quiet place and entered the 8-dragon cauldron. July, how are you? Night Sorrow asked July. Thank you, Master. I'm fine now. I just need to go back and recuperate, Chiue said. Then recuperate well. When you go back, get your Aunt Shueshi to cook something delicious for you. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He was glad that he had arrived in time. If he had been any slower, there would have been irreparable consequences. If that happened, it would have been useless even if he slaughtered the entire Gate of Goose sect. Master, you killed King? July was still very shocked. The 8-dragon cauldron didn't isolate her from the outside world, so she had heard and seen what Yan Fei had said and how Night Sorrow had slaughtered the Dongyan sect branch. That guy. He's just trash king. I'll continue on my way. After Night Sorrow said that, he left the 8-dragon cauldron and continued flying. This time, Night Sorrow didn't plan on taking the teleportation array. Instead, he flew directly to 7 Night Mountain. The distance between Yanmen Mountain and 7 Night Mountain was quite far. No matter how fast Night Sorrow was, it still took him 6 days. During that time, he had to use the teleportation array in an inconspicuous city twice. After arriving at 7 Night Mountain, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to Northstar's residence before returning to the Celestial Master Pavilion. Master, how is it? At that moment, Ning Yun's injuries had recovered a little. Night Sorrow nodded and brought July out. At that moment, July had almost recovered. With the power of the 8-dragon cauldron's medicine spirit, it wasn't a big problem for her to recover from some injuries. Junior sister, are you alright? Ning Yun looked at July nervously. I'm fine. Senior brother informed me in time and master arrived in time. Master massacred the gate of Goose Sect's Dongyan sect branch, July said. Night Sorrow, did you really massacre an entire branch? She looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. I was too angry, so I killed some people. Night Sorrow nodded. This time, he was really angry. It was fine for cultivators to have conflicts and battles, but one couldn't be too despicable. He couldn't accept Yan Jinghua's actions. Aunt Shueshi, master also killed a king. July said. She was very proud because her master didn't enter the king, but he killed a king in an instant. Night Sorrow, you killed a king? Shueshi's eyes were filled with shock because this didn't make sense. Killed a king? What's the situation? At that moment, Northstar also arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. It's just a trash king. He only has the will of earth. He doesn't have the speed or the strength of his attacks. Night Sorrow picked up the teapot on the table and poured himself a cup of tea. You really don't know how to speak. You didn't enter the king and killed a king. You're too heaven-defying. I guess the Gate of Goose sect hates you to death. Bei Xing's eyes were also filled with shock, because such a thing had never happened in the profound sky world in hundreds of thousands of years. The chaos is getting bigger. There are probably more people who want to kill me, but I'm already numb to it. There are many people who want me dead, so it doesn't matter if there are more or less. Night Sorrow laughed. All right. You've won. Is there anything you need me to do? Bei Xing asked. Help me find out more information. Let's see what's going on outside. Send some food and wine over. Ning Yun and Chiyue must be well rewarded. Night Sorrow nodded. You have to do your job well. Ning Yun, Chiyue, you have to thank Aunt Bei Xing said with a smile. #CL Original U chapter are on Cool Craftsman our network L9 inch. When did you become twice as senior as us? Ning Yun asked. You bastard, I'm friends with your master. How dare you call me sister? Do you dare to shout? If you shout, I'll agree. Bei Xing crossed his arms and looked at Ning Yun. All right. Aunt Bei Xing, I was wrong. Ning Yun said helplessly. He really didn't dare to call her sister. Bei Xing laughed and left. She really liked the atmosphere in Night Sorrow's courtyard. Everyone was more casual, but there was also a hint of persistence in the casual atmosphere. From today onwards, the two of you are not allowed to run around. If you want to gain experience, go to Seven Night Mountain. Night Sorrow looked at Ning Yun and Chiyue and said. The two of you have shown up. Everyone knows about your relationship with your master. If you go out again, it'll be easy for problems to arise. Shueshi said. Master, I'm sorry. I've caused trouble for you. Chiyue said with some embarrassment. Chapter 1921. Master, why don't we just forget about it? It's not that serious. July said. She didn't want to make things difficult for Night Sorrow because of her. It's nothing. Even if we don't compete with them now, they won't let us off the hook. It's nothing. We cultivators can't be afraid. Whoever wants to fight with us, will fight to the end. As we fight, we'll become stronger. As we fight, our level will rise, Yishan said. When he said this, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. He had walked through battles. Back then, he fought with the Golden Flame sect. Then, he fought with the various dynasties of the Tai Ching domain. Then, he fought in the Profound Mysteries realm and the Nether realm. Now, he was in the Profound Sky world. Cool Craftsman Network. Ning Yun and July nodded. They knew that this was their master. If his bottom line was crossed, he would dare to fight anyone. If his bottom line was crossed, he wouldn't back down. After letting Ning Yun and July recover for 2 days, Night Sorrow arranged for them to go to the Seven Nights Mountain. He was worried that the Big Dipper city wasn't safe. Now that a storm was brewing, Night Sorrow didn't know when it would happen. After Ning Yun and July left for 2 days, Bei Xing came. Her face was full of excitement. Night Sorrow, you've gone too far this time. The Yanmen sect is now looking for you. They're going to kill you at all costs. I slapped their faces. Let's not talk about whether they can slap me back or not. I have to throw some harsh words at them. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that his identity couldn't be hidden. At that time, there were living people at the entrance of the Dongyan Mountain. They would know who did it with a casual description. Now, he was a top figure in the profound sky world. You're famous now. Not only did you kill the king, but you also killed the king. The name of the strongest sage king, Night Sorrow, has become popular. You're the idol of all the sage kings. Bei Xing said with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled. You should help me find out more information. Others found me in the Big Dipper city. If I don't know, they'll close the door and beat me. That won't happen. Right now, everyone who is looking for you is rushing to the vicinity of the Yanmen sect. Other than that, no one from BG City has come to Big Dipper City. You can still stay here peacefully. Bei Xing covered her mouth and said. She felt that it was very fun now. Bei Xing was not young, and her life was very ordinary in the past. However, after knowing Night Sorrow, she felt that everything was very exciting. Night Sorrow dared to do anything, and could do anything. That's good. At least I can feel more at ease. If others want to cause a ruckus, then so be it. Night Sorrow said. Within the Seven Rain Palace of the Seven Rain World Seven Rain Valley, the Seven Rain Monarch sat in the main seat as he listened to the reports of his subordinates. A king killed a king before entering the realm. This has not happened in a million years. How valiant. The Seven Rain Monarch's fingers tapped on the armrest of his seat as he muttered softly. In addition, many kings under the monarch's command have entered the sky mystic world. In the beginning, everyone was full of confidence. Now, the slogan of capturing Night Sorrow is very loud. However, everyone is very cautious. After all, Night Sorrow can kill a king, said the woman. She was the youngest disciple of the Seven Rain Monarch, Ao Luyan. She was a 3-star king, and her achievements had surpassed her senior brother and senior sister. That's right. Defeating and killing are 2 different things. A 2-star king might be able to defeat a 1-star king, but it is not easy to kill him. If he can kill him now, then a 2-star king will not be able to capture and kill him. It will not be easy for a 3-star king to kill him either, said the Seven Rain Monarch. Master, there are rumors going around that he has many treasures in his hands. The most eye-catching ones are the Soul Cultivation Elixir and the Myriad Lifespan Limitless Fruit. Therefore, he has become a target. The Myriad Lifespan Limitless Fruit is important, but it is useless to kings and monarchs. However, the Soul Cultivation Elixir is crucial. Master, I will inform 5th Senior Sister to go with me. No. I am asking you to go to scout for information, not to capture him or target him. It is true that opportunities need to be fought for, but at the end of the day, what is yours is yours. Besides, these treasures are too weak compared to him. He is the true treasure. I have some feelings for him. If you go again, it will still be to scout for information. If he needs help, then help him, said the Seven Rain Monarch. Master, the Soul Cultivation Elixir is too important to you. It can also decide the position of our 7 Moon realm in the 9 Firmament world, said Ao Luyan. The people who want the Soul Cultivation Elixir are all obsessed. Let me ask you, if you were the one who obtained the Soul Cultivation Elixir, would you give others the chance to snatch it away? His true body is in the 9 Firmament Pagoda, so his doppelganger will not have any backup plans. Would he be afraid of these things? Those who are closely involved can't see clearly, said the Seven Rain Monarch as he shook his head. That's true. For him to be able to torment himself to this extent, he is definitely not brainless, said Ao Luyun after some thought. Go. Back when he obtained the title of First Saint of the 100 Realms, I have already formed a good relationship with him. I really hope that when he is in a desperate situation, it is not because I have bad intentions. At that time, he will think of me and our Seven Rain realm will have another great talent, said the Seven Rain monarch with a smile. Master, you mean to invite him to the Seven Rain realm? Asked Ao Luyun after being stunned for a moment. It is not that I want to, it is that I have already done so. It is just that he is unwilling. He does not want to betray the Sky Mystic World even though the Sky Mystic World has wronged him, sighed the Seven Rain monarch. After hearing what Master said, I feel that he is a very good person, said Ao Luyun with a smile. Looking at his eyes, feeling his arrogance and style, I feel that he is a perfect person. He is from a small world. It is not easy for him to fight to this extent. Those old fellows still bully him. Just thinking about it makes my heart ache, said the Seven Rain monarch. That's right. If he was from a large world or a great power, he would be spoiled like a treasure, said Ao Luyun with a smile. All right, go. You know what to do. There is no need to be afraid of offending others. The Seven Rain monarch nodded at Ao Luyun. At this moment, at the Tianding Gate's standing peak, Elder Xiang and Yan Huifeng were talking to Yu Yang Yu about the recent situation. Lord King, is Night Sorrow in danger? Yu Yang Yu was a little worried because there were too many strong opponents. No, Night Sorrow can kill a king. That means that a primary king cannot threaten him. Lord Monarch has said that cultivators above the intermediate king level are not allowed to enter our Sky Mystic World. Therefore, he is safe, said Elder Xiang. It is because I am incompetent as his master. Yu Yang Yu was a little upset. Everyone's path is different. This is his path. It is a path of struggle. The only regret is that he will not be returning to the Tianding Gate in the near future. Elder Xiang sighed. The main thing was that the Tianding Gate could not help Night Sorrow in any way. Tianding Gate's West Radiance Peak. Chu Danxian was studying the alchemy manual when Tang Yuan ran in excitedly and told her about the news that was circulating outside. Chapter 1922. Tang Yuan also didn't say anything, because she used to act all high and mighty in front of Night Sorrow, but in fact, if Night Sorrow wanted to deal with her, he could do it with just a flick of his finger. After the members of the other peaks of the Tianding Gate received the news about Night Sorrow, although they were worried, they were more happy, excited, and honored. It wasn't a king who killed a king, this was an honor. Many people didn't even dare to think about it, but Night Sorrow did it. Who was Night Sorrow? He was the guardian elder of the Heavenly Cauldron sect. His position was second only to the sect master and the sovereign king, the supreme elder Heavenly Cauldron sovereign king. Night Sorrow's life was very comfortable every day, concocting pills, refining tools, and then practicing combat skills. King Greedy Wolf sometimes came to drink with Night Sorrow, and the two became drinking buddies. Xueshi also went back to Empty City to get some wine. Fortunately, Aoi brewed a lot. Bei Xing spent most of his time in the courtyard, mainly talking to Night Sorrow and Xueshi. Bei Xing, what law are you comprehending now? Night Sorrow asked after he finished concocting pills. My strongest attribute is water, so according to my father, I'm currently studying and comprehending the will of water. Originally, I wanted to use the water attribute to try and comprehend the life attribute, but I didn't have the chance. Bei Xing said. In fact, many talented cultivators were like this. They were proud in their hearts and wanted to have higher achievements, but it was very difficult. This was almost the reason why King didn't have a high-level attribute. Even if there was, it was just a little high-level attribute, not a pure high-level attribute. By the way, Bei Xing, why didn't you participate in the ceremony of the 100 Worlds' first sage? Night Sorrow said, he knew that Bei Xing was a half-step king. If I participate, I can get some rankings, but if I can't get into the top 10, it's meaningless. If I can't rush to the front, I'll lose my spirit. It's meaningless. However, Xiao Zimo is very strong. If you weren't there, she would definitely be first. Bei Xing said with a smile. The phantom race is indeed terrifying. Whether it's one-on-one or in a group, they're amazing. If you meet them in the future, you have to hide. Night Sorrow said. Not all members of the phantom race are like that. It also depends on talent and bloodline. Only the phantom royal family can create 3 energy clones. Xiao Zimo's situation is a little special. She is one of the more talented members of the phantom race. She is also one of the most talented members of the phantom race, Bei Xing said. That's good. If everyone from the phantom clan was as crazy as Xiao Zimo, then we would be invincible, Yi Shang said. That's impossible. There is a balance between heaven and earth. If the phantom race were all like Xiao Zimo, then this world would belong to the phantom race. No race would be able to fight against them, Bei Xing said with a smile. That's true. You're right. If that's the case, there won't be any balance. Night Sorrow nodded. The phantom race is rare because of their talent. Bei Xing nodded. After Night Sorrow chatted with Bei Xing for a while, he continued to cultivate his battle skills. This was the most effective thing he could do with his clones. After 2 days of peace, Big Dipper King came to Night Sorrow's mansion. Lord King, you're here. Night Sorrow put away his reincarnation spear and greeted him. The outside world is unstable. You're here as stable as Mount Tai. Not bad. Remember, just be yourself. Big Dipper King said with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He took the tea that Xueshi brewed and poured a cup for Big Dipper King. Read 6 original chapters on Cool Craftsman Unspecified Currency S Network. Big Dipper City hasn't been peaceful for the past few days. It was a sovereign from the Demon Moon realm. He announced that he saw you in Big Dipper City before the incident at Eastern Wild Goose Gate Mountain, said the North Star Sovereign. It seems that the Demon Moon world has also declared war on me. Although it's a one-on-one battle, I'll remember this. Night Sorrow said with a sigh. Now that you don't have the strength, you need to be stable. Just remember these things. Once you have the strength, you can deal with them one by one. Big Dipper King said with a smile. He was afraid that Night Sorrow wouldn't be stable. After Big Dipper King left, Night Sorrow felt a little guilty. He didn't treat Big Dipper King with the soul-nurturing tea. Black Heaven Monarch had obtained the soul-nurturing liquid, so it wasn't a big problem to expose the soul-nurturing tea to him. However, other people couldn't. Night Sorrow could give Big Dipper King the soul-nurturing tea, but not now. When Ao Luyun arrived at Big Dipper City, she was quite meticulous. After investigating Big Dipper City, she learned some things about Yi Shang's past. She knew that he had once refined Saint King pills and was a member of the Alchemist Union. Following this clue, Ao Luyun found traces of Night Sorrow in the Heaven Do shop. She also noticed the Celestial Master Pavilion. After the Heaven Do shop stopped accepting Saint King pills and Saint King weapons, the Celestial Master Pavilion appeared out of nowhere. Moreover, no one knew who the alchemist and refiner of the Celestial Master Pavilion were. This was very suspicious. After thinking for a while, Ao Luyun went to the Celestial Master Pavilion and said that she wanted to order a special Saint King pill and hoped to meet the alchemist. However, she was rejected by Old Man Qin, who said that the alchemist wouldn't meet any guests. Ao Luyun thought for a while and smiled. Then tell him that I, Ao Luyun, am the disciple of the Seven Rain Monarch of the Seven Rain World. I want to meet him. I will wait for his reply tomorrow. Looking at Ao Luyun's figure, Old Man Qin pondered. However, at this time, Bei Xing came to get today's order. Old Man Qin told Bei Xing about Ao Luyun's appearance. Ao Luyun? I know this person. She used 3,000 years to cultivate to the king realm. She is a genius of the Seven Rain World. It's a little strange that she reported her name. After muttering to himself, Bei Xing nodded to Old Man Qin and returned to his mansion. Then, he teleported to the courtyard behind the Celestial Master Pavilion. Night Sorrow, the Celestial Master Pavilion seems to have been exposed. However, I don't understand the other party's intention. Bei Xing told Night Sorrow about Ao Luoyun's arrival and the message Ao Luoyun left behind. Subordinate of the Seven Rain Monarch? Then I understand. You arrange for Old Man Qin to find a tea house near your courtyard and inform her. Night Sorrow decided to meet Ao Luoyun. It's good to meet her. Since she can find the Celestial Master Pavilion, it means that she has some clues. If she has any evil intentions, she can directly make a move. Xueshi also agreed with Night Sorrow. Besides, Xueshi also knew that Night Sorrow and the Seven Rain Monarch had met before. Under Old Man Qin's arrangement, Ao Luoyun waited in a tea house some distance away from Bei Xing's courtyard. Night Sorrow also came as promised. He wanted to see what Ao Luoyun's intentions were. He wanted to see what the Seven Rain Monarch's intentions were. Seeing Night Sorrow, the Seven Rain Monarch pointed at the seat opposite him. Greetings. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and sat down. I am Ao Luoyun of the Seven Rain World. People call me King Luoyun. You can call me Luoyun. I have no other purpose in coming here. I just want to tell you that the hiding place is not safe. Ao Luoyun said while sizing up Night Sorrow. Chapter 1923. Yes. When you need help, I will lend you a hand, Ao Luoyun said. Good. As expected of a monarch. Night Sorrow admires your courage and magnanimity. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the void. Why do you say that? Ao Luoyun didn't understand why Night Sorrow would suddenly ask such a question. If you came for the soul cultivation liquid, I might be disappointed. However, the Seven Rain Monarch didn't mention this matter. I, Night Sorrow, have no choice but to respect him, Night Sorrow said. Haha. Honored Master was able to cultivate to the monarch realm. Whether it is courage or temperament, it naturally surpasses ordinary people. Now, what do you need me to do? Ao Luoyun asked. He now had some understanding of the Seven Rain Monarch's evaluation of Night Sorrow. When ordinary people heard the word monarch, even if they didn't feel fear, they would feel fear and humility. However, Night Sorrow didn't. He still spoke leisurely. It's nothing. Help me thank Sir Monarch. I, Night Sorrow, will remember Sir Monarch's favor and kindness. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Ao Luoyun and stood up. I will report back to Honored Master. However, don't appear in the Celestial Master Pavilion again. Also, don't accept orders for Saint King pills and Saint King weapons. Those who are interested will find out, Ao Luoyun reminded Night Sorrow's back. Night Sorrow paused for a moment. He then turned around and cupped his hands towards Ao Luoyun, then left the tea house. After circling around and making sure that no one was following him, Night Sorrow entered Bei Xing's courtyard. Then, he returned to the courtyard behind the Celestial Master Pavilion. What's the situation? Bei Xing asked. Looking at Bei Xing and Xueshi, Night Sorrow told them about Ao Luoyun's warning. Yes, you participated in the alchemist conference. You are a Saint King alchemist. If we follow this clue, we might be able to find some clues, Bei Xing said. Then we'll have to move. Xueshi's expression was not very good. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. There's no need for that. The courtyard is well hidden by an illusion array, and it can even block detection. In the future, the Celestial Master Pavilion will not accept any orders for Saint King pills or Saint King weapons. Just let Old Man Qin announce that the alchemist and artifact refiner have left the Celestial Master Pavilion and Big Dipper City, Night Sorrow said. North Star nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's arrangement was appropriate. After all, no one had any concrete information. After Ao Luoyun spoke with Night Sorrow, he returned to the Seven Rain World and reported to the Seven Rain Monarchs about his encounter with Night Sorrow. Haha. If we really talk about the soul cultivation liquid, then I will be black in his heart, no different from the Tsangyin monarch and the Demon Moon monarch. Continue to go to the Big Dipper city. If you really encounter a huge crisis, crush your master's messaging crystal, the Seven Rains monarch said to Ao Luyun. Ao Luyun bowed and left the Seven Rain Palace, returning to the Big Dipper city once again. However, he stayed closer to the Celestial Master Pavilion, so it was easier for him to observe the situation. After Ao Luyun left, the Seven Rain monarch narrowed her eyes and pondered. Then, her eyes lit up because she had analyzed a problem. Night Sorrow did not mention that he had not obtained the soul cultivation liquid. If he had not obtained it, then Night Sorrow would have denied it. What did that mean? Then, the Seven Rain monarch shook her head and smiled. She could not take Night Sorrow's things, and she could not snatch Night Sorrow's things. Otherwise, Night Sorrow would be furious. The Seven Rain monarch wanted the soul cultivation liquid. If it was in the hands of someone else, she might use force. However, Night Sorrow would not do that. She was optimistic about Night Sorrow's future and did not want to hurt the friendship she had built with Night Sorrow, even if that friendship was very thin. In fact, in Night Sorrow's heart, the Seven Rain monarch's friendship with him was not thin. When they were in the Nine Heavens Pagoda, there was no such thing as the soul cultivation liquid. The Seven Rain monarch had also invited him to the Seven Rain world. This time, when she came to help him, she did not mention anything about the soul cultivation liquid. This left a deep impression in Night Sorrow's heart. Night Sorrow's days were very peaceful. Half a month later, someone investigated the Celestial Master Pavilion. However, Old Sheen's reply disappointed the person who found the Celestial Master Pavilion. It had been half a month since the Celestial Master Pavilion had received any orders. In other words, even if Night Sorrow had stayed here before, he had already left. After half a month, this information was useless again. Night Sorrow now believed that the most dangerous place was the safest. He stayed in the courtyard behind the Celestial Master Pavilion and quietly concocted pills. As for smithing, Night Sorrow had not done it recently. Now that he could no longer improve his smithing skills, there was no need to waste materials. As for pills, they were all universal. Once they were concocted, they would become a resource. Ao Luyun knew that Night Sorrow was still in Big Dipper City. However, he had hidden himself very deeply. She also knew that with the support of the Big Dipper King, it would be very difficult for anyone to find Night Sorrow in Big Dipper City. Find out too much? Whoever dared to do so would be killed. Look at CT positive R version, J chapter on Cool R Craftsman Net FQ, provoking the prestige of a region's overlord king. Even if they were killed, the overlord behind them could only watch. After all, the overlord of the Xian celestial realm was still guarded by the overlord of Xian Tian. After being in a daze for a while, Night Sorrow thought of making a move. He felt that he should make a move. The gate of Yenshan's sect was very arrogant. If they wanted to capture him, then he should go and teach them a lesson. He would divert their attention and then return to Big Dipper City. That would be much safer. With this idea in mind, Night Sorrow told Xuexi and Bei Xing, but this will be dangerous, Bei Xing said. Don't worry. They are currently focused on capturing me. They won't expect me to kill my way to their door. They shouldn't be on guard. Night Sorrow told them his guess. After listening to Night Sorrow's estimation, Bei Xing and Xuexi didn't object. After all, Night Sorrow had already made his decision. Xuexi stayed there and didn't move. Bei Xing took Night Sorrow's 8-dragon cauldron and left Big Dipper City. They arrived at a relatively remote town. As she shook the 8-dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow arrived in the real world. I'm still waiting for you here. Be careful. Safety is always the most important thing. As long as you're here, you can take revenge anytime, Bei Xing reminded Night Sorrow. Okay. You be careful too. I'm leaving. Night Sorrow tightened the gun holster behind him. He put on the mask and went to the teleportation circle in this small town. Then, he teleported to the city of the Gate of Yenshan sect. The headquarters of the Gate of Yenshan sect was in the Gate of Yenshan Mountain. A few of the sects that taught their disciples were also in the Gate of Yenshan Mountain. However, they still had many cities under their control. A large force had to manage their businesses. Only then would they have enough resources to support their logistics. Now, Knight Sorrow planned to attack the Gate of Yenshan sect's businesses and rob them of their resources. This way, while accumulating resources for himself, would also tell the Gate of Yenshan sect and the world that if anyone dared to target him, Knight Sorrow, he would definitely fight back. Knight Sorrow teleported to a city called Qingsha City. This was his first target. With the map of the Xian celestial realm in his hand, before Knight Sorrow left, he had already locked onto a few cities to attack. Qingsha City was his first stop. Chapter 1924. Knight Sorrow had the help of the 9 regions' origins, so his soul power's probing was very strong. Before the battle, he had scouted all the places that could be discovered, so his safety was very high. Knight Sorrow also had his own principles when it came to killing targets. That was, he would attack the core members of the City Lord's manor. He would ignore the ordinary members, which meant that he would not kill too many people. After successfully occupying a city, Knight Sorrow swept through all the resources in the City Lord's manor. Then, he set the City Lord's manor on fire and moved on to the next city. Knight Sorrow's battle speed was very fast. Without King's opponent, killing peak holy kings and half-step kings was just a matter of moments. The Gate of Yenmen was a first-rate force in the celestial realm. The resources in the City Lord's manor were very rich. After all, the daily expenses of supporting a city were not small. After one city was done, Knight Sorrow began to teleport. Before the battle, Knight Sorrow took all the teleportation crystals in the teleportation formation. When he left, Knight Sorrow casually installed one, which meant that he would teleport to wherever he went. Then, in the new city, he teleported according to the target city. Before leaving the battle city, Knight Sorrow also set up a spirit explosion formation in the teleportation formation. It was to destroy the teleportation formation and prevent others from spreading the news. This time, Knight Sorrow was more ruthless. He directly destroyed 6 cities. Originally, Knight Sorrow planned to continue, but he met King in the 6th city, Green Summit City. It was a 2-star king. This 2-star king was the son of the Gate of Yenmen's sect master, Yan Qingfeng. Green Summit City was Yan Qingfeng's territory. When Knight Sorrow attacked, he was cultivating in a courtyard in the city. So, after Knight Sorrow launched the attack, Yan Qingfeng received the message and rushed to the City Lord's manor. Looking at Knight Sorrow who had finished setting fire to the city, Yan Qingfeng said coldly, "You are quite bold. Perhaps this is my opportunity." "Your opportunity? What kind of opportunity did you have?" Knight Sorrow said to Yan Qingfeng with the space splitter spear in his right hand. He was not afraid of a 2-star holy king. He also wanted to see the difference between him and a 2-star king. Limitless longevity fruit, soul cultivation liquid. Aren't these opportunities? I think you have a lot of resources. After Yan Qingfeng finished speaking, his body flashed and charged towards Knight Sorrow. Will of Wind and Fire. Knight Sorrow discovered Yan Qingfeng's Will of Wind and Fire. Using the Will of Space to support his bloodline, Yishang's body slashed and drew an arc in the air. Then, he thrust his spear towards Yan Qingfeng's chest. At the same time, he used the spatial twisting dragon kill. Seeing Yishang close in on him, Yan Qingfeng waved his blade and slashed towards Yishang's space splitter spear. His willpower was good at tough battles. With the fusion of his willpower of wind and fire, the wind helped the fire, increasing his attacking power. With a loud explosion, the energy of Knight Sorrow's space splitter spear and Yan Qingfeng's battle blade clashed. The energy of Knight Sorrow's space splitter spear was cancelled out, but Yan Qingfeng's battle blade still had energy left. The remaining energy of Yan Qingfeng's battle blade followed the space splitter spear and attacked Knight Sorrow's arm. The energy of the myriad Tao Bible burst out from Yishang's body. He used a shockwave to disperse the energy. The two separated. Night Sorrow used Space Swirling Dragon Slash to appear in front of Yen Qingfeng. He used his bloodline talent to release a vibration wave. As the vibration wave hit, a muffled sound was heard. Yen Qingfeng was pushed back by Night Sorrow. He had used up all his energy and had not used up any new energy. After pushing Yen Qingfeng back, Night Sorrow continued to charge forward. He used Time Will to support the myriad Tao Tome and released another vibration wave. Damn it! Yen Qingfeng cursed. Yishang's attacks were too fast, one wave after another, not giving him any time to catch his breath. Night Sorrow's Will of Time and Space supported his bloodline talent and myriad Tao Tome. He used 3 different techniques to suppress Yen Qingfeng. Yen Qingfeng was in a passive position. He only had one type of energy. Whether it was attacking or defending, there was a blank space. And this blank space was where Night Sorrow attacked. This made him very uncomfortable. His arms were numb from the vibrations. Night Sorrow felt it was about time. He couldn't afford to waste any more time. After using Space Twisting Dragon Kill, he used Soul Destruction Slash to attack Yen Qingfeng's soul. Night Sorrow's Soul Destruction Slash was blocked this time. A light blue wave appeared on Yen Qingfeng's head, blocking the path of the Crescent Moon Blade. With the Crescent Moon Blade blocked, Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear attack arrived. Once again, Yen Qingfeng was pushed far away. What surprised Yishang was that Yen Qingfeng had borrowed the force of Yishang's attack to turn around and run. He had stopped fighting. Seeing Yen Qingfeng's fleeing figure, Night Sorrow didn't give chase. He believed that he could defeat Yen Qingfeng. He had already defeated him, but it would be difficult to kill him. Yen Qingfeng could block all of his attacks. He wouldn't be able to fight for a while. Night Sorrow didn't chase after Yen Qingfeng. Instead, he flew to the teleportation array. After setting up the Spirit Explosion Array, he teleported away. In Green Summit City, Yen Qingfeng let out a sigh of relief after discovering that Night Sorrow had left. He was a little scared. There were some things that Night Sorrow didn't know about, but he knew that the energy provided by his soul defense sacred item could only block Night Sorrow's soul attack twice. He was worried that if he continued to fight, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Because his tracks had been exposed, Night Sorrow didn't continue to fight. After meeting up with Bei Xing, they returned to Big Dipper City and his mansion. How did it go? Xue Shi, who was waiting in the mansion, asked. I destroyed 6 cities. In the 6th city, I encountered a 2-star king. After fighting for a while, he ran away. I didn't have any effective means to kill him, so I didn't chase after him. Then, I teleported back, Night Sorrow said. 2-star king? What's his name? Bei Xing asked. There were only so many kings in the Xian celestial realm. Bei Xing knew which one was which. I don't know, but he has a soul defense. It's a light blue halo that can block my soul power attacks, Night Sorrow said. The only H_original version P, the others are all pirated by UE. Sky Goose Encirclement. That's a soul defense tool unique to the Gate of Wild Goose sect. However, the Sky Goose Encirclement has a limit. In other words, the amount of energy it contains is limited. It can't be used continuously. This is also why he was in such a hurry to escape. He was afraid that you would continue to attack him with your soul. North Star explained to Night Sorrow why his soul attack was blocked. So that's how it is. I was really worried that he could keep defending his soul. Night Sorrow smiled. He understood that Yen Qingfeng was really afraid. Otherwise, he wouldn't have run. Half-Step King defeated 2-star King and chased 2-star King away. Night Sorrow, you're good enough. North Star gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Chapter 1925. If Yen Qingfeng had told us about the battle, it might have changed the situation. You defeated a 2-star king. Do you think the other 1-star and 2-star kings would still dare to look for you? 3-star kings wouldn't have the confidence either. There aren't many 3-star kings under the sovereign. Bei Xing shook her head. She felt that Night Sorrow's battle would affect the mentality of those who were looking for Night Sorrow. That's right. Let's see if Yan Qingfeng has the face to tell others. If he does, then everyone who is looking for Night Sorrow will have to think about their own safety. Xuexi also felt that Bei Xing's words made sense. Bei Xing, help me pay more attention to the situation outside. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Bei Xing nodded. Don't worry about this. My father doesn't really care about the affairs of Big Dipper City. I'm in charge of some things. The intelligence system is also under my control. If there's any movement, I'll be the first to know. At this time, the Xian celestial realm was really in chaos. 6 of Yanmen sect cities had been destroyed. This kind of thing couldn't be hidden anymore. Yanmen sect's reputation was once again shattered. However, the news of Yan Qingfeng and Night Sorrow's battle and his defeat didn't spread. Yan Qingfeng only reported this to the sect. After hearing Yan Qingfeng's report, everyone in the Yanmen sect's main hall looked very serious. Sect leader, this matter is not easy to deal with. A man in a black robe said. He was Yanmen sect's Grand Elder, Golden Flame King Xiao Wu. The problem is that we can't find him. We have power, but we can't use it. He came to our territory to cause trouble. There are only 2 or 3 people in Yanmen's sect who can stop him. The old man sitting in the main seat said. The old man had a pair of eyes that emitted an ominous glint. His 2 white eyebrows were almost erect. He was the patriarch of the gate of Yenshan sect, the king of Wuhui, Yan Wuhui. Yan Wuhui was very angry. Dealing with Night Sorrow could not be done in a big way. In the conflict with Night Sorrow, the Yanmen sect was in the wrong. They could not even say the reason. Committing obscenity was a great taboo among cultivators. Sect Master, the only way is for the 2 of us to move around in the lower cities. That way, he won't be able to act recklessly. We'll hold him off for now. There are many people who want to take care of him now. We'll hold him off until he's taken care of. Xiao Wu spoke his thoughts. That's the only thing we can do for now. The sect will enter a state of full preparation for war. There must be people near the teleportation array. If there's a battle, destroy the teleportation array immediately. That way, he won't be able to escape quickly. Yan Wuhui said. When news of the Yanmen sect spread, King's subordinates all went to the Yanmen sect to look for Night Sorrow. The name Night Sorrow represented an opportunity, because whoever obtained the soul cultivation liquid would benefit greatly. While Xuexi and Night Sorrow were drinking tea, they kept thinking. Xuexi, what are you thinking about? Night Sorrow asked Xuexi, who was deep in thought. I think there's a need to clarify to the outside world why you attacked the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect. Righteousness is very important, and so is your reputation. Xuexi said. I'll walk my own path. It doesn't matter what others say. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really hadn't thought about this. After Bei Xing arrived, Xuexi told him her thoughts. Night Sorrow didn't care, but she didn't want Night Sorrow to have a stain on his reputation. After hearing Xuexi's words, Bei Xing also felt that it was necessary. No matter when, righteousness was very important. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation % Craftsman v Net Plus, okay, I'll take care of this. I'll send people to leak the reason why Night Sorrow fought the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect. Bei Xing nodded to Xuexi. Night Sorrow thought about it and didn't object. This would be a blow to the Yanmen sect and the Tiannan dynasty's reputation. For a sect or a force, reputation was very important. A sect with a bad reputation would have a hard time recruiting disciples. Perhaps it wouldn't affect the sect's strength temporarily, but it would have a great impact in the future. There would be a situation where the sect's disciples would be cut off. Bei Xing was very efficient. A few days later, the reason for Yi Shang's battle with the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect had spread throughout the world. It was very simple for the intelligence agents under her command to do this. They just had to secretly post notices in each city. The result of this incident was that the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect suffered losses. They also had a bad reputation. A bad reputation that everyone despised. This made the higher-ups of the two forces furious. They didn't understand how the news spread so quickly. Normally, Night Sorrow couldn't do this in the Xian celestial realm. Because they were in the wrong, the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect couldn't make up stories. They could only remain silent. Their silence represented the truth. This made many cultivators clap their hands and cheer. Didn't cultivators from big forces like to bully others? They had kicked an iron plate. Night Sorrow had become the idol of the independent cultivators. He wasn't the king, but he did something that even the king might not be able to do. Bei Xing excitedly told Night Sorrow about the situation and rumors outside. Not bad. They must be very upset now, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's strange. With their character, they didn't confuse the truth, Shueshi said. It's not strange. The king can be very despicable, but he must respect the truth. If they deny it, whoever made this decision will not be able to face their own hearts. It will be difficult for them to achieve anything in the future. So they can only keep quiet. Bei Xing explained why the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect didn't confuse the truth. After hearing Bei Xing's words, Shueshi nodded. She understood the reason. What's the situation with the other king's subordinates? Night Sorrow asked. He couldn't go out, but he still paid attention to the news outside. Big Dipper City is very stable. Almost all the subordinates of the Seven Rain Monarch have arrived at the Yanmen sect. Of course, the one who met you is still in Big Dipper City, Bei Xing said. The one she was talking about was Ao Luyun, the subordinate of the Seven Rain Monarch. This woman is very smart. The fact that she could find the Celestial Master Pavilion last time proved this point. This time, she also calculated some things. Fortunately, we are not a match for her. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Night Sorrow knew that Ao Luyun was a smart woman. She wouldn't be interrupted by some external factors. She was the kind of person who believed in her own judgment. Ao Luyun, who was drinking tea in an inn, narrowed her eyes and pondered. She believed in her intuition. Night Sorrow went to the Yanmen sect to cause trouble. He wouldn't be in the Yanmen sect. And Night Sorrow's most likely hiding place was Big Dipper City. Ao Luyun's impression of Night Sorrow also changed. Chapter 1926. After pondering for a while, Ao Luyun returned to the Seven Rain Monarch and reported the recent events to her. Well done. That B*TCH has to be dealt with. Condoning the disciples of the sect to violate the precepts, no matter how you kill him, it's not too much. The Seven Rain Monarch's eyes were shining. She was someone who abhorred evil and hated profligate sons like Yan Zhenghua the most. Right now, he's very stable. Ordinary people really can't deal with him. The junior king under the various sovereigns will have a hard time catching him. Besides, if he doesn't take the initiative to attack, it's hard for others to find him. I think that the forces under the Big Dipper King should have helped him a little. Ao Luyun explained his analysis. That's natural. With such a young talent, if there's no grudge, anyone would be willing to form a relationship with him. The Seven Rain Monarch said. Then everything makes sense. Ao Luyun said. He has a virtuous body and has luck on him. In addition, in the Nine Heavens Pagoda, his title was strengthened. In the outside world, he also has a certain amount of luck. When he grows up, he will be amazing. The Seven Rain Monarch understood why Night Sorrow could get the support of the Big Dipper King. Seems like this Big Dipper King is a smart person. After hearing the Seven Rain Monarch's words, Ao Luyan understood why the Big Dipper King supported Night Sorrow. That's natural. If another sovereign appears in the celestial realm, it will definitely be the Big Dipper King. He has principles and a gentleman. The Black Heaven Sovereign won't stop him from becoming a sovereign. The Seven Rain Monarch said. In the outside world, after a sovereign appeared, a second sovereign would rarely appear because it would affect the ruling position. Under normal circumstances, a world would only have one sovereign. In the case of a world having two or more sovereigns, the first sovereign must have an extraordinary breadth of mind or not care about the struggle for power. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. The Sky Dome realm having two sovereigns was an example. It was because the no-beginning sovereign was magnanimous and didn't care about the struggle for power that he allowed the Grey Cloud Sovereign to appear. There were two kings in the continent of the Nine Clouds because Monarch Shen Shao and Monarch Zi Shao were brothers. Ao Luyan nodded. He understood that the Big Dipper King was the second in command of the Xian Celestial Realm. So, no one would dare to make a big move against Night Sorrow. Go. Remember, Night Sorrow is someone worth befriending. He is also someone worth the Seven Rain World's attention, the Seven Rain Monarch instructed once more. Ao Luyan bowed and left the Seven Rain main hall. He continued to observe the situation in the Xian Celestial Realm. Night Sorrow lived an ordinary life every day. Sometimes, he would go out for a walk with Northstar. Right now, Big Dipper City was very quiet, and there weren't any spies. When they went out for a walk again, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and turned to look at Northstar. Let's go and meet King Drifting Cloud. Well, they don't have any ill intentions, so they have good intentions. It's good to meet them. Northstar nodded. As the young miss of Big Dipper City, Northstar had a good outlook on the big picture. She also had her own analysis of some matters. Night Sorrow and Northstar had just arrived at the inn where Ao Luyan was staying when Ao Luyan appeared. He brought them to the guest room of the inn where he was staying and brewed a pot of tea. You can still run out? Ao Luyan sat down and asked after pouring tea for Night Sorrow and Northstar. Hee, King Drifting Cloud knows that Big Dipper City is very quiet. There aren't any spies from other forces, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. However, it's better to be cautious when you're growing up. It won't be too late to take revenge after you've grown up, Ao Luyan said. Drifting Cloud, King Drifting Cloud is right. If I really can't do it, I'll run. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Ao Luyan was giving him a kind reminder. It's good that you know. The minor world you came from and the Seven Rain world are good places for you to go. There are some things that you can say directly. Because of your excellence, my master is willing to protect you without asking for any price, Ao Luyan said after pondering for a moment. Thank you, Monarch Seven Rain. I, Night Sorrow, will remember your kindness. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his fists towards Ao Luyan. Hee. Before I came here, my master told me to do so. I had to do it. Now, I admire your way of doing things. As long as it doesn't harm the interests of the Seven Rain world, I will help you even if my master didn't tell me to. In fact, there are many things that don't require a reason, Ao Luyan said with a smile. Yes, there are many things that don't require a reason. Drifting Cloud, King Drifting Cloud, I will also remember your kindness today, Night Sorrow said with a smile. No need to be so polite. I didn't help you much. With the help of Big Dipper King and Miss Northstar, you won't have any problems. Ao Luyan shook his head. Indeed, he hadn't helped Night Sorrow much. I don't need any help. You didn't hit me when I was in a difficult situation. That is a kind of kindness, Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of tea. You didn't hit me when I was down is a kind of kindness, well said. Aside from you, I don't think anyone else would have such thoughts. To have such thoughts is also a kind of realm. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ao Luyan was stunned for a moment. Then, he clapped his hands. Night Sorrow's words had revealed a kind of realm. It was a realm that no one in the profound celestial realm had reached. Drifting Cloud, King Drifting Cloud, you flatter me. I was just expressing my feelings, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Ao Luyun shook her head. She had an indescribable feeling in her heart. She couldn't express the feeling Night Sorrow gave her. After chatting with Ao Luyun for a while, Night Sorrow and North Star stood up and bid farewell. After Night Sorrow left, Ao Luyun sank into deep thought. Now, she truly understood why the Seven Rain Sovereign valued Night Sorrow so much. Aura. Ao Luyun felt Night Sorrow's aura and aura. Even when facing her king realm, Night Sorrow didn't show any pressure. Instead, he became the center of attention. All the conversations were led by Night Sorrow. In terms of demeanor, Night Sorrow displayed the demeanor of a great general. Ao Luyun felt that even some of the direct descendants of great powers couldn't compare to Night Sorrow's demeanor. Next was his state of mind. Night Sorrow was very open-minded. Although he was being chased by the subordinates of many sovereigns, he didn't show any signs of being flustered. On the contrary, he was calm. Night Sorrow's words, "You didn't hit me when I was down" as a kind of kindness, had greatly touched Ao Luyun. North Star, who left with Night Sorrow, didn't say anything. He even looked a little absent-minded. North Star, what's wrong? Night Sorrow stopped and turned to look at North Star. The Seven Rain Realm is trying to rope you in. Will you go? North Star asked after taking a deep breath. Chapter 1927. It's not that I'm overthinking, but the Seven Rain Sovereign values you very much. I can say that if you go to the Seven Rain world, you will have a better future, Beixing said. Don't tell me I won't have a future if I don't go to the Seven Rain world. Besides, do you think I can give up Seven Night City? Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true, I'm overthinking. Beixing smiled embarrassedly. She was too concerned about whether Night Sorrow would be taken away by the Seven Rain world, so she was a little worried. Night Sorrow and Beixing returned to the courtyard behind the Sage Pavilion. How was the meeting? Xuexi asked. She didn't care about the situation outside, but she was concerned about Night Sorrow's safety. Everything is fine. Oh right, we haven't gone to the Seven Night Mountain for a while. Let's go and see how the construction is going, Night Sorrow said. Beixing and Xuexi both agreed to Night Sorrow's suggestion. They also wanted to see how the Seven Night City was built now. After 2 teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at the Seven Night Mountain. After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow was a little stunned because the scene before his eyes was different from what he remembered. The Seven Night Mountain had undergone huge changes. Night Sorrow wrapped Beixing and Xuexi with his energy and went to the nearest peak to have a bird's-eye view of the entire situation. The location of the Seven Night City was bustling with activity. The scale of a city had already appeared. There was a towering pavilion below the cliff with the words Seven Night City Lord's Mansion written on it. Night Sorrow brought Beixing and Xuexi to the entrance of the City Lord's Mansion. Night Sorrow entered the City Lord's Mansion after feeling the sturdy and solemn bluestone ground. At the table in the City Lord's Mansion's hall, Tai Shu Yan and Jun Xuanji, who were drawing, were discussing something. However, the two of them raised their heads when they felt someone enter. Seeing Night Sorrow, Tai Shu Yan and Jun Xuanji were surprised. They then cupped their hands and greeted him. You don't have to be so polite. You've done a good job, Night Sorrow said. That's natural. The 9 regions world is fully constructed. Night Moon Dynasty, Tianji Tower, and Assassination Hall's people are all here. Long Xiansheng and Saint Proclamation are running. They often go out to buy materials. For example, the City Lord's Mansion's built is made of rare materials. The City Lord's Mansion, it is also the main hall, the teleportation array. They're all busy. They're supervising different things. Your wife and Lord Wu Kei are cultivating. Their doppelganger seems to be at the Seven Nights Lake. Let's go and take a look, Tai Shu Yen said. At the edge of the Seven Nights mountain area, there was a big lake. It originally had no name. Night Sorrow named it when he was surveying the terrain. When Yi Shang arrived, he found that some workers were also busy. Night Sorrow. Seeing Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu shouted happily. Looking at S. Edition E chapter up E Cool H Craftsman Jr. Net. Night Sorrow smiled and greeted him. He then nodded to Wu Lingfei. What are you building here? Night Sorrow asked after greeting them. Living quarters. Our living quarters. Auntie Fei said that you like to sail boats on the big lake. We'll build a courtyard here. You'll have a place to live in the future, Yang Lei said. It's important to build the city now. Don't mobilize the workers in the city. Our courtyard can be built later. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that he shouldn't get any special privileges. I know what you're thinking. These are my family's gardeners and craftsmen. They're not the workers in the construction team, Sikong Chuyu said. Oh. Then there's no problem. The design here is good. After the city is built, it'll be a quiet place, Night Sorrow said as he looked around. This place isn't suitable for building other facilities. When we were designing the blueprint, this place was marked out. It'll be your resting place, Jun Xuanji said. Is this okay? Night Sorrow looked around again. You're the city lord. This is your territory. Doesn't the city lord have a place to rest? Tai Shu Yen said with a smile. Then you make the arrangements. I won't care. Here are some spirit stones. Take them and give them to Long Xiansheng and Saint Xian in exchange for resources. The construction of the city can be slow, but the foundation must be good. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome in the future, Night Sorrow reminded Tai Shu Yen and Jun Xuanji. Commander, don't worry. We went to Xiantian Imperial City once and handled the construction of Seven Nights City according to the scale of Xiantian Imperial City. Although we can't reach that level now, the foundation is definitely enough, Jun Xuanji said. The scale is too big. Night Sorrow was a little stunned after hearing Jun Xuanji's words. Xiantian Imperial City was the #1 city in the profound heaven world. Night Sorrow had never thought of building Seven Nights City according to the scale of Xiantian Imperial City. Take it slow. We can build the key areas first. The construction of the outer areas can wait. If we build it now, we won't be able to use it, Tai Shu Yen said with a smile. Yes, we can take it slow. Wu Lingfei nodded. After that, everyone made tea and chatted casually in the pavilion that was already built. The girls asked about Night Sorrow's recent situation. After knowing that Night Sorrow was safe, the girls were relieved. If it's not possible, Night Sorrow, you can go back to the 9-domain world. Can they chase you there? Wait until you enter King Realm, then come back, Sikong Chuyu said. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Okay, I'll be careful. Your clones stay here. The main body will work hard to cultivate. Everything will be fine, Night Sorrow said to the girls. Oh right, Night Sorrow, there's something else I want to tell you. The 9 continents of our 9-domain world are converging together. The density of heaven and earth spirit chi has also increased, Wu Lingfei said. This is the reaction of the 9-domain world after it was completed, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. This was a good sign. Suddenly, Night Sorrow's body shook. Night Sorrow's face also turned cold. What's wrong? Aoi asked. The 9-domain sources informed me that because of the evolution of the 9-domain world, it has attracted some trouble. Another world has appeared and is approaching the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow had just received the news from the 9-domain sources and understood what was going on. Tribulation. Chapter 1928. How could this be? Aoi asked. Following this, Night Sorrow told the girls about the information he had obtained from the 9 domains' origins. There were some things that Night Sorrow did not know, and he only understood after the 9 domains' origins told him. When a cultivator's level greatly increased, they would have to be acknowledged by the heavenly Tao and undergo tribulation lightning. There were also tribulations, such as inner demons and wind and fire tribulations. It was the same for the formation and advancement of a spatial world. The 9 domains world's laws were complete, and it had the nihility origin source as its core. It was developing towards a supreme world. The 9 domains world still had a long way to go to become a supreme world, but now that the 4 high-grade laws had perfectly fused, it had become a high-grade world. As such, it had to undergo tribulation. The tribulation that the 9 domains world was facing this time was an attack from an evil world. If it could not withstand it, the 9 domains world's origin chi would be stolen, and its level would drop. It would become a low-grade world again, and it would be difficult to say when it would recover. It might even be destroyed. If the 9 domains world was destroyed, it would be a disaster for the 9 domains world's lifeforms. It was true that cultivators could move to the heaven profound world and survive, but if the source root was gone, it would have a huge impact on the growth of their cultivation and the evolution of their levels in the future. What should we do? Wu Lingfei asked after hearing Night Sorrow's words. I have a clone that has fused with the Heaven's Sealing Palace, which suppresses the world. It can protect the origin chi from being stolen for a short period of time. What we need to do is attack this evil world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow brought the girls back to the 7 Night City's City Lord's residence and asked Jun Xuanji to gather the 9 domains administrators to the commander's residence in the Grand Clarity City for a meeting. Night Sorrow, do you need people? I can go back and gather some, Bei Xing, who knew that Night Sorrow was in danger, asked. While Night Sorrow was thinking, the 9 realms' origins told Night Sorrow that it was impossible to rely on external forces. Foreign cultivators did not originate from the 9 realms and could not receive the support of the 9 realms world. They were not qualified to participate in such a war and would be killed by the evil world's laws. Thank you, North Star. This is a tribulation for the 9 realms world. It's also a tribulation for the 9 realms world. We have to face it ourselves. I can't go to Big Dipper City for now. Once I've dealt with the 9 realms world, I'll go to Big Dipper City, Night Sorrow said to North Star. Then I wish you good luck. See you in Big Dipper City. North Star looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. She knew that there were some things that she couldn't help with. After sending off North Star, Night Sorrow returned to Sky City with the girls around him. Night Sorrow, what kind of battle is this? When Zhu Jiuyan heard the news, he went to Night Sorrow's residence and asked. I've never experienced it before, but I can already feel the evil world. It's right below our 9 realms world and will approach in 7 days. The evil world will attack from below and try to break through the 9 realms world. My clone in the Heaven's Sealing Great Hall can control the Heaven's Sealing Great Hall to suppress it, but it can only suppress it for a short period of time. This period of time will be the time we fight. Night Sorrow said to Zhu Jiuyan. Then what's the situation with the Nether Realm, Supreme River Space, and Profound Mysteries Realm? Zhu Jiuyan asked again. +% most new 1 chapters. Section E, Cool Craftsman Network. There are some things that you don't know. Over the years, the 9 realms world has been evolving. A few worlds have merged and recombined. The original 9 realms world is the core area while the Profound Mysteries Realm, Nether Realm, and Supreme River Space are the auxiliary groups. The 3 space worlds are the inner worlds of the 9 realms world. The space barrier is also the space barrier of the 9 realms world. Therefore, this battle is all out. Night Sorrow explained to Zhu Jiuyu. I see. Then it's going to be an all-out battle. I'll go to the Nether Realm to gather the troops. Zhu Jiuyan said. Go. I've already told Elder June about this. Gather the troops from the Profound Mysteries Realm as well. This is a calamity for the 9 realms world and us. It's also an opportunity for us and the 9 realms world. After this calamity, the 9 realms world will become a high-level world. Our life forms will also improve. Night Sorrow said. After making the arrangements, Night Sorrow leaned back in his chair. Night Sorrow, don't worry. No matter what, we can overcome it. There's no problem that we can't solve. Yang Lei said as she massaged Night Sorrow's shoulders. Time is too short. If I had more time, my main body would enter the king's realm. Then, the combat power of these 2 clones would increase by leaps and bounds. Unfortunately, time waits for no one. Night Sorrow felt that this matter was always a little lacking. He couldn't face it calmly. A test. This is a test. Sikong Chuyu said. Perhaps. Night Sorrow softly muttered. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow brought his men to the commander's residence. At this moment, the upper echelons of the 9 realms world were all present. The seats on both sides were filled with people. Night Sorrow walked to the main seat and sat down with a wave of his battle robe. After Night Sorrow sat down, the others all stood up and cupped their fists in greeting. Everyone, there's no need to be like this. Many of you are my seniors. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his fists in return. The commander is the leader of the 9 realms world. It's only right that we receive greetings, Jun Xuanji said. After waving his hand for everyone to sit down, Night Sorrow explained what was going to happen next. We're not very clear about this. Commander, you can just give the order. Heavenly Underworld Saint said. Good. First, the non-combatants will continue with the construction of 7 Night City. The combatants will gather. This time, we'll gather the elites. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices, Night Sorrow said. How will this team be divided? Taishu Yen asked. The Holy King will be the team leader. He will lead the saints and sovereigns. After the team is organized, they will be on standby in Taiching City. They will be ready to fight at any time. In addition, the supply of resources must be kept up. Healing medicine and resources that can instantly replenish cultivation must be prepared. Night Sorrow gave a series of orders. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, everyone stood up again to accept the orders. Then that's it. 7 Night City still needs people to be stationed there. Saint Shang will be in charge of this matter. If there's any trouble, inform me immediately. Night Sorrow said to Shang Qiu, who had also returned for a meeting. After all the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow rushed to the old site of Clear Sky City. In the past, the old site of Clear Sky City was desolate and dilapidated. However, it was not now. At this time, the old site of Clear Sky City was full of rich energy. The 9 Realms Origin Shield was emitting a gentle light. Chapter 1929. Yes, outsiders are blocked by the realm transfer array. Even if they come here, I can still fight. As for the people inside the 9-domain world, I can also suppress and kill them. It is indeed necessary to rebuild this place. Night Sorrow nodded and said. After hearing the 9-domain origin body's suggestion, Night Sorrow felt that if he could survive this tribulation, then he would have the ability to protect the 9-domain world. First of all, he could enter the King Realm at any time. Once he entered the King Realm, then he could fight and kill a primary king. Even if he did not enter the King Realm, he would not be afraid of a 1-star king or 2-star king. In the profound sky world, Night Sorrow could fight a 1-star or 2-star king. In the 9-domain world, his advantage would be even more obvious. Moreover, the king could not enter the 9-domain world at all. As for the people inside the 9-domain world, they would be suppressed by him, the Realm Lord. At this moment, the evil world was very close to the 9-domain world. It rose from the bottom of the 9-domain world and would connect with the 9-domain world in a few days. This evil world was not part of the 3,000 worlds. It was a form of the heavenly Tao's test. It would only appear at a certain time. After a certain time, only one of it and the 9-domain world could exist. If the 9-domain world could withstand it, then it would become a high-level world. If it could not, then the evil world would replace the 9-domain world. As for the situation of the evil world, Night Sorrow knew a little. It was actually a projection of the 9-domain world. Its strength was almost the same. It could even be said that there was a realm lord on the same level as Night Sorrow. After staying in Clear Sky City for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky and continued to think of a battle plan. At this moment, Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing were also in the city in the sky. Night Moon's Emperor and Yi Tian were also there. Yi Qianhua was also there. At this moment, Yi Qianhua had already entered the Saint King realm. With the cultivation experience of several lifetimes and the time he entered the space-time pagoda to cultivate, his cultivation level naturally increased very quickly. Night Sorrow, how long can the 9 domains world last without knowing the battle situation? Yi Qianhua asked. Great Ancestor, I can't say the specific time. The minimum suppression time is half a year, which means that at least after the 2 worlds are connected, I can guarantee a stable time for half a year. This time may be longer. Night Sorrow told Yi Qianhua what he knew. Night Sorrow, you are the world lord of the 9 regions world, the founder of the new era of the 9 regions world. You don't have to call me Great Ancestor, just call me Saint Monarch Qianhua. Yi Qianhua shook his head and rejected Night Sorrow. That's not appropriate. After all, you are Night Moon's ancestor. Night Sorrow shook his head. Yi Qianhua looked at Night Sorrow and said, calling you Saint King Qianhua is very appropriate. According to the seniority of this life, I would have to call you uncle. All right then. I will be able to gain a foothold in the Sky Mystic world soon. After settling the matters of the 9 regions world, we will fully develop in the Sky Mystic world. We will take back what the Tian Nan Empire owes us. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Qianhua and Yi Tian and said. At this moment, Yi Tian was already a Saint King. After being imprisoned for 100 years, it was a test for his state of mind. After gaining freedom, his state of mind relaxed and he made substantial improvements. Night Sorrow, I am also very grateful to you. Without you, I would have spent my entire life in a ball cage. Yi Tian stood up and said to Night Sorrow. We are Night Moon's people. We have the same blood in our bodies. We have the courage to fight the heavens and the earth. If you humiliate Night Moon, we will fight to the end. Great Ancestor, you don't have to think too much. Moreover, you are also the faith of Night Moon's people. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want Yi Tian to bear any pressure. You are wrong. There was once an era that belonged to me. However, Night Moon's faith is you. It is you now and it will be you in the future. Immortal Saint King Night Sorrow will forever be the faith of Night Moon's people. Yi Tian shook his head and said. That was the truth. Yi Tian was the symbol of Night Moon Empire's era. The undefeated King Yi Linghuan was the flag of Night Moon's era. However, the current soul of the Yi clan and the 9 regions world was Night Sorrow. It was a kind of faith. After resting for 2 days, Night Sorrow brought his wife and the people close to him to Tai Ching City. At this time, the square of Tai Ching City was filled with people. Moreover, they were divided into teams, and each team was led by a Saint King. This battle is a battle that we must win. Whether it is a quick battle or a steady progress depends on the specific situation. If my soul clone can control the heaven sealing palace and suppress the evil world, then we can fight steadily. If the evil world is fierce and my soul clone and the heaven sealing palace can't suppress it, then we have to fight quickly. There will be consumption and death, but we have to hold on. Night Sorrow said. It doesn't matter. We are all determined to fight to the death. Long Xianqing said. The leaders of the other teams also nodded. Living in this era, we are destined to be a generation that has to fight to the death. Perhaps it might be a little cruel for everyone, but for the future of the 9 regions world, we have no other choice. I, Night Sorrow, am willing to fight. I am willing to fight to the end for the 9 regions world. Night Sorrow looked at the group of people and spoke his mind. There is a kind of personality called perseverance. There is a kind of realm called willingness to sacrifice. There is also a kind of realm called willingness to sacrifice. The 9 regions world is fortunate to have a commander like you. It is also the fortune of our generation. Lu Qin stood up and bowed to Night Sorrow. Following Lu Qin's bow, everyone in the square also bowed to greet him. If we're alive, we have to live a good life. We're lucky to live in this era and have the opportunity to fight for the future generations. We have the opportunity to bring glory to ourselves. Isn't that our fortune? We have to be the pioneers of the 9 regions world. We have to become the sages of the 9 regions world in the eyes of the future generations. This time, we might die in battle. Even if we die, we have to use our bones and blood to create an immortal monument. Night Sorrow took out the sky splitter spear with his right hand and pointed it at the sky. He spoke of his reason for fighting and his belief in battle. The square quieted down. Then, there was a shocking roar. Night Sorrow's words completely ignited the battle blood in everyone's body. As Night Sorrow's left arm pressed down, the square quieted down. For this battle, I, Night Sorrow, can't promise anything. I can't guarantee that everyone will come back alive. What I can do is to stay alive. You will definitely see my figure in battle. I have the determination to fight to the death and the belief to win. Now, let's go. Our target is Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow stepped onto the teleportation array after speaking. Then, Night Sorrow also activated the teleportation array he had set up on the seaside. An hour later, all the participants of the battle arrived at the square of Clear Sky City. Cool voice craftsman Net D. Chapter 1930. Then, Princess Qing Yuan told Night Sorrow about the Qing Yuan army. The Green Phoenix army was split into 4 armies. The rear army was the Imperial Court army, the left army was the Black Armored army, the right army was the Flying Feather army, and the Vanguard army was the Thunder Lightning army. There were a total of 4 generals and only 1 commander, which was Princess Green Phoenix. I cool OD craftsman F net only N, a positive version, I he. All of them. Robber 6-inch Your Majesty plans to send you to the Thunder Army. Princess Qing Yuan explained the situation of the Qing Yuan army and expressed her thoughts. Sure, no problem. Night Sorrow nodded. Alright, as long as you think there's no problem. In addition, you will also be the captain of Your Majesty's guards. Whether Your Majesty is in battle or not, you will follow by Your Majesty's side. Princess Qing Yuan said the second arrangement. I'm afraid that's not a good idea. Night Sorrow's strength is low. At most, he would die on the battlefield. However, the princess's safety is more important than anything else. Night Sorrow can't bear the responsibility. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said. Joining the army required one to fight and kill their opponents. However, it was different for the captain of the princess's bodyguards. It involved a lot more. Don't worry, let's talk about this later. First, follow Your Majesty to the Green Phoenix army and familiarize yourself with it. Then, we'll see what position you can take. Princess Green Phoenix changed the topic. Green One army was stationed at heaven-facing cliff outside Qing Emperor City. This was the southern gate of the Qing Emperor Imperial Court. Princess Green One brought Swa Tingyun and the guards, as well as Night Sorrow, red clothes, and blue clothes through the transport formation set up within the manor, transporting to Green One army's encampment at heaven's facing horizon. When they reached their destination, Night Sorrow saw 4 neat barracks. These were the 4 divisions of the Green Phoenix army. The situation of the army was different from what Night Sorrow had imagined. There weren't that many soldiers. After probing with his soul power, Night Sorrow discovered 4 armies, each with only 4,000 soldiers. As if he had seen through Night Sorrow's thoughts, Zhuo Tingyun opened his mouth. The Green Phoenix army doesn't want trash, they only want elites. That's why there aren't many people, only 17,000. 10 people form a small team, and the leader is a small team leader. 100 people form a large team, and the leader is a large team leader. 1,000 people form a large team, and the leader is a commander. What about the other 1,000? Knight Sorrow nodded at Suatingyan. It's the Green Phoenix Battalion that this commander commands. It's independent of the 4 armies. Suatingyan explained to Knight Sorrow once again. Qing Wan led a group of people into the command tent and sat down. After a while, a few people came to the tent to pay their respects. Has it been quiet recently? Have there been any movements from the Red Emperor's nation and the Dark Abyss? Princess Qing Wan asked. The Red Emperor's nation has been mobilized from time to time, but there have been no abnormal movements. However, the Dark Abyss's army has shown signs of invading. Even if the princess doesn't return, this subordinate still has to report. A middle-aged man bowed and reported. The middle-aged man was wearing a silver armor. His body was emitting a dense killing intent and his face had a resolute expression. Seems like the war isn't far away. Thunder God General, this time your majesty has brought someone to your Thunder God General. Princess Qing Wan said to the man who reported the news, who was the Thunder God General. Reporting to the commander, the Thunder God General's organization is complete. We don't need any more people. This subordinate will also seriously recruit new people. The Thunder God General said. In the Green Phoenix Army, there is no nepotism. Your Majesty also won't use any connections. He is Knight Sorrow. Whether or not he is suitable for the Thunder God General is enough. Princess Qing Wan said. Facing the Thunder God General, she was also somewhat helpless. The Thunder God General's temperament was like this. It could even be said that he was somewhat old-fashioned. Elder Zhua, bring Knight Sorrow out for a walk. Tell me about the Thunder God General situation. After explaining her position, Princess Qing Wan nodded to Suatingyan. Suatingyan bowed and led Yi Shang and the others out of the tent. Then, he talked about the history of the Green Phoenix Army, their military exploits, and their rules. Within the Green Phoenix Army, only those with the rank of captain and above could not stay in the barracks. The other soldiers had to stay in the barracks to train and cultivate. Don't blame the Thunder God General for rejecting you. In the Green Phoenix Army, the Thunder God General is the strongest, the most cohesive army, and also the army with the most outstanding military achievements. There were many people who held high positions in the Qing Emperor's empire who wanted to send their descendants to the Thunder God General for military achievements. In the end, they were chased away by the Thunder God General. On this point, the Thunder God General will not give face to anyone, including the princes and imperial descendants. Suatingyan said. The commander of the army must be upright and plain-spoken. He must adhere to his principles. Otherwise, how can he convince the masses and lead the army? Knight Sorrow understands this point and also admires it. Knight Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Thunder God General did not want him. In the command tent, the Thunder God General said, Commander, that person is too young. Although it is very impressive that he has the cultivation of a 2-star king at such a young age, the Thunder God General has always been in a bloodbath. He might not be able to withstand it. Haha. Thunder God General, you are looking down on him. His name is Knight Sorrow. Since his debut, he has been fighting for his destiny. He has experienced many battles big and small. Moreover, he was once a commander and has led many world wars. He is not joining the Thunder God General for military achievements. He really has the ability. Do you think your Majesty will joke about the Thunder God General? Princess Green Phoenix said. She understood that the Thunder God General looked down on Knight Sorrow. If the Thunder God General does not want him, my black armored army will. An old man with a thick beard said. He was the Black Armored Army's commander, Zhu Xuanjia. When the Green Phoenix Army was established, the 4 commanders were the commanders who supported the Green Phoenix Army. Therefore, the 4 armies of the Green Phoenix Army had the names of the 4 commanders. No. Thunder God General, bring Night Sorrow over. This is a military order. As for whether he can become a small or large captain, it will depend on his own ability. In the future, he will be a normal soldier in the Thunder God General. Your Majesty's relationship with him has nothing to do with the Green Phoenix Army. Princess Green Phoenix said. This subordinate understands. Qin Leitang bowed and said. Then let's go. Bring him over and take a look. Your Majesty is also curious to see how far he can go. Princess Green Phoenix said. This commander will also go and take a look. Zhu Xuanjia was very interested in Night Sorrow. The other 2 commanders also followed. They all wanted to know what was so special about this person that Princess Green Phoenix thought highly of. After the few of them left the tent, they called out Night Sorrow and the other 2 and came to the tent where the Thunder God General was located. Night Sorrow, this lord is the Thunder God General, Qin Leitang. The commander wants you to join the Thunder God General. To be honest, this lord does not want you. However, military orders cannot be ignored. Now, this lord has a few questions to ask you. If this lord is not satisfied, you can go back to where you came from. Qin Leitang looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow understands. Commander, please ask. Night Sorrow said. What is the most important thing in an army? Qin Leitang asked. The army's soul, morale, unity, and the commander's wisdom. Night Sorrow said. Tell me. Qin Leitang was stunned for a moment. Chapter 1931. The Dark Ruler is a woman? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. Yes, she's a strong, scheming, and domineering woman. She's the #1 woman in the world of reincarnation. Summer City nodded. Women are good at scheming. We should be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. What are you talking about? Lanning glanced at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow raised his head and found several sharp gazes looking at him. Hong Yi, Lanning, and Qing Wan were all looking at him. I don't mean what you think. What I mean is that women are meticulous and think things through carefully, so we have to be careful. I don't mean anything else. What are you thinking? Yi Shan said, somewhat speechless. Night Sorrow then went down the city wall and set up a few formations. It wasn't a trap, but it would definitely be effective in a big battle. After setting up the formations, Night Sorrow patrolled the city and asked about the losses. Night Sorrow then learned that they had lost 2 armies. The main reason was that the Lin 1 army had started to suffer heavy losses. Most percent knew 3 chapters, G, on LD Cool, Craftsman F Net B. After writing the battle report, Night Sorrow went to the top of the city gate. When the Dark Ruler gives the order, I'll slaughter your fragrant Jade City. Seeing Night Sorrow's leisurely attitude, Shishue was filled with anger. Idiot. When you attacked me just now, I didn't put up any defenses. But you didn't dare. Why don't you try attacking me now? Let's see if you'll leave behind another 4 armies. Night Sorrow sneered. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Shishue was so angry that his head buzzed. However, he didn't dare to attack just now, and there was no news from the Bone Palace. Shishue's messenger also passed the news to the Great Bone Hall. Human nature. Once he understands the worries and misgivings of others, the war won't be easy to fight. Rowan, send someone to kill that guy. Then we'll fight again. With this thorn in our side, we won't be a match for him. The Darkness Lord made his decision after hearing the messenger's words. What about the bloodthirsty army? Rowan asked. Retreat to Blackwater Town and wait for this brat to die. Dark Ruler Datura gave the order. Shishue retreated with the bloodthirsty army because he couldn't take down Fragrant Sky City. Night Sorrow nodded to Qing Wan, send the news back to the Empire. Unless there's a big change or they come up with a plan, the situation will go back to how it was before. The bloodthirsty legion retreated. After confirming that the bloodthirsty legion had returned to Blackwater Town, Knight Sorrow led his men back to the 9-story tower and Heaven Tiger Pass. In the Azure Sky Pavilion, the Azure Supreme the Arch was reading the battle report. The ruler of darkness, Mandela, once said that if she personally led the army, she could take down our Azure Supreme the Arch Empire and the Red Emperor Kingdom at any time. This time, they were slapped in the face. They lost 4 more armies. How can they fight? More than a dozen armies were wiped out just like that. Our Azure Emperor dynasty's losses added up to only 1 army. The difference is huge. However, given Mandela's personality, she won't give up just like that. She probably has something else up her sleeve, Xian Daozi said. Her backup plan is probably the same as the Red Emperor's. She wants to kill Knight Sorrow. But do you think it's that easy? Besides, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger is out there. It's impossible for them to kill Knight Sorrow. Qing Emperor sneered. Knight Sorrow returned to Nine Chong Tower and received many visitors, including princes and officials. This time, Knight Sorrow raised the prestige of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. World of Reincarnation, Heaven-Seizing Island. This was a special country. The island owner, Zhang Taiyang, was one of the giants in the world of reincarnation. If the East District of the world of reincarnation had 3 top forces, then the North District was dominated by the Heaven-Seizing Island. Zhang Taiyang was reading the information about the East District of the world of reincarnation. Island owner, this Knight Sorrow is the person I divined. Because we were far away, the Qing Emperor got the upper hand. A man said. He was the chief diviner of Weo Archipelago, Jiang Wuyu. In a situation where the major powers can't easily make a move, with such an invincible commander, the development of the Azure Divine Empire will be very stable. Furthermore, his potential is also very shocking. This island lord has outstanding talent and is worthy for this island lord to use the heaven-seizing technique, Zhang Taiyang said. But if we do that, the Qing Emperor might go crazy. Jiang Wuyu was stunned. He will go crazy? Who will he go crazy with? Now that the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Dark Abyss are in a confrontation, he will look for Datura. This blame will be taken by Datura. Alright, you will be in charge of the matters of the Heaven-Seizing Island. I will go out for a walk. Zhang Taiyang said and left the main hall of the Heaven-Seizing Island. Jiang Wuyu knew that the world of reincarnation was going to be chaotic. The East District of the world of reincarnation was already chaotic. If Zhang Taiyang acted, it would be even more chaotic. Originally, Zhang Taiyang's aptitude was very ordinary. The reason why he was able to have such great achievements now was because of a strange technique that he had researched, the heaven-seizing technique. It could be used to steal other people's cultivation aptitude and even their attributes. This was one of the important reasons for Zhang Taiyang's achievements. However, the heaven-seizing technique was an evil technique. It had a great effect on karma. Therefore, Zhang Taiyang wouldn't act unless he met a cultivator with heaven-defying talent. In the Dark Abyss, Datura told Rowan and set out. Knight Sorrow's existence was a hindrance to the development of the Dark Abyss. He had to be eliminated. Knight Sorrow stayed in the 9-story tower every day. When he was free, he would deduce formations like his clone in the Heaven-Sealing Hall. The Qing Emperor gave Knight Sorrow a manual on formations. At the same time, he also understood the Heaven-Sealing formation and the Heaven-Locking formation. These 2 formations were extensive and profound. The Heaven-Locking formation was a natural formation that contained the truth of heaven. The Heaven-Sealing formation was the essence of the Qing Emperor's cultivation in formations. Knight Sorrow didn't know that he was in danger now. Many people were eyeing him covetously and were about to act. Knight Sorrow didn't know, but the Qing Emperor and Summer City knew that the secret guards of the Qing Emperor's palace had been lurking outside the 9-story tower and dealt with several groups of assassins from the Red Emperor's kingdom. Summer City also felt the crisis. As a cultivator who had cultivated for countless years, He knew how deep the water in the world of samsara was. Night Sorrow's existence made all forces feel the crisis. Not to mention other things, the Red Emperor's kingdom and the Dark Abyss didn't want Night Sorrow to live. Night Sorrow was a threat now. When he grew up, he would be a greater threat. Summer City arranged Fei Xiao and Shenhan to patrol the 9-story tower every day, not giving anyone a chance to sneak in. Night Sorrow, who didn't feel anything at first, also felt the crisis. After thinking for a while, he gathered his family members together. Night Sorrow, is there anything wrong? Yu Qing looked at her son and asked, "You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."